So, what is really working on YouTube right now to grow your channel, to get more views, to get subscribers, especially as a Christian content creator? And what does this small hatchet axe have to do with success? Might seem like a random opening, but I actually want to kick off today's Coffee with Cannell with a Bible verse because we're going to be going through 3 coaching sessions. Stick around until the end because there's going to be massive tactics that will help you ultimately impact more people, grow your channel. But one of the powerful Bible verses that changed my life years ago was Ecclesiastes 10:10, and it says this: using a dull axe requires great strength, so sharpen the blade. That's the value of wisdom. It helps you succeed. And actually, a few years ago, we had a theme at Think Media, and it was sharpen the axe. We always have an annual theme. And so this little axe here with the cool little leather sheath says think on there. And then ultimately my son will climb up to get this. Very dangerous. And you can see we got that Bible verse right on there. Well, why do we love this verse? It's because that sometimes when you're trying to grow your YouTube channel, you're trying to grow your personal brand, it feels exhausting. It feels like a slog. It feels like you're sweating, you're perspiring, you're super overwhelmed because using a dull axe requires great strength. So what the author of Ecclesiastes, King Solomon, encourages us to do is he says, hey, so sharpen the blade. And that's actually the value of wisdom. It helps you succeed. If you take some time to actually sharpen the blade, you're able to accomplish your goals faster. If you're feeling fatigued right now and frustrated because your channel's not growing, maybe you need to sharpen the blade. If you're feeling like, man, I just haven't quite figured out my niche or my positioning or my business model, I see the opportunity to grow my church, to grow my ministry, to grow my personal brand as a Christian content creator, but like it's not quite working yet, I want to encourage you, sharpen the blade. Why do some people make success seem effortless? Well, it could be because they took the time to sit down, learn, study, skill up, tool up, get new strategies, new tactics. And in doing so, by taking the time to sharpen the blade, they ultimately reach their goals faster. And before we get into our first coaching session, it reminds me of a quote by Abraham Lincoln that said, hey, if I've got 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'm going to spend the first 6 sharpening the axe. You know, he was referencing the Bible when he said that quote, because he was saying, listen, it's not just necessarily about more hard work. It's actually about more smart work. It's about being more intentional and taking time to sharpen the blade. And that's what we do here on Coffee with Cannell. And that's what we're going to be doing in these conversations. So I really believe the next 90 minutes or so after we go through the 3 coaching sessions and after we do some Q&A with our guests, and whether you're here live on the replay, drop replay fam in the comments, smash like, because I really believe this is going to be a powerful episode of Coffee with Cannell. So buckle your seatbelt, hit the like button, and let's dive into the show. Back to the Coffee with Cannell show. My name is Sean Cannell, rhymes with YouTube channel. Super grateful that you're here. And in just a second, we're going to get into our first guest, Myrra Kate. We've got Stephen here today, Chris and Meg here today. And there's going to be a lot of tactical lessons that you learn. Let me know what you're drinking, though. I'm sipping on some coffee from Presta in Arizona. It's a Columbia blend today. Prepared it in an AeroPress. It's delicious. And I'm super fired up. Today's episode is brought to you by vidiq.com/think. A little bit more on that later. But you can get a 30-day trial of vidIQ's Boost plan for just $1 at vidiq.com/think. And today's episode is brought to you by expandgodskingdom.com. If you haven't heard, we are doing a free YouTube strategy class for Christian content creators live that if you're watching live, it's happening today in 5 hours or something like that from when we started this. And so that's at expandgodskingdom.com. So check that out in the show notes. And we'll circle back on some of those things in just a bit. And I want to welcome Myrra Kate to Coffee with Cannell. How's it going?
Hey there. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so grateful to be here. It's 3 a.m. here though.
Yeah, the
So if
honor's
I
all
have like
mine.
brain farts or something.
Don't worry. I mean, the honor's all mine to get up at 3 a.m. to be on the show. I'm so humbled and grateful. We have an international community and that technology allows us to do this. And so thank you for being here. And I'm going to pull your channel up, but give us a little vision about what is it you're doing on YouTube? What is your goal? When did you get started?
Yeah, so I got started with YouTube years back, but I never really became that much active. And I just restarted it this year, June. And I really honed into the 7R system of the VRA. I haven't completely finished the VRA program yet, but we're getting there. And yeah, I have seen quite a few like results in the past few weeks where when I have started becoming active in this. And mostly I just really upload course creation videos, course creation strategies, and all of that for kingdom driven entrepreneurs. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. And so you were wondering how to get some more views. Right now you're averaging 100 to 200. A little bit about thumbnails and then monetization questions. Is that what you want to cover today?
Yes, that would be really awesome.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into it. It's kind of cool to see that, first, that 8 years ago, it looks like you uploaded this video, though, as far as when the channel started.
Yes, that is when I was still back in like uni.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so more recently, you're saying, did you formed a business to coach course creators, correct? Christian
And right
course
now,
creators?
I do have course creation done for you services and programs for for Christian
Beautiful.
experts.
That's fierce clarity to have. I mean, for 99% of people, I don't know about those numbers, but a lot of times having a product or a service first can really help you, of course, architect what it is you're even doing on YouTube. So that's super helpful. Okay, so let's dive in. Well, a couple things. Let's go thumbnails first. My personal philosophy is 3 or less words on thumbnails. So the first thing I see is too much words and a little too much clutter on the channel overall. Kind of overwhelms me. Now, you look great. Your photos, you in the thumbnails, the color scheme you've chosen, all of that's great, and your ability to create thumbnails, I think, is incredible. I will say I know that this video is 2 months old, so it's had a little more time to get views, and I will
Mhm.
say that topics vary in terms of results, but I find it interesting that the best thumbnail out of these top 8 also has the most views. It has 452 as opposed to even 347, 241. And of course, topic probably matters more than anything, but it also is the most minimalist. Get your course done in record time, which is
Yeah.
also a great promise. So my first thought is there's a couple examples we could look at. I think we could look at there's great examples all over the place. Success leaves clues. What we like to say at Think Media, can we do no words? That's the most recent video with Omar. We were debating this in Slack too. The original thumbnail that came out yesterday was pretty terrible. We started to retool things, work on things. Could we do no words? Okay. If we're going to do words, can we do 3 or yes? 1 year faceless. That's 3 or less. In some cases, it's just logos. Let me give another example here. I think Layla Hormozy and Alex as well. Their director of brand and person running their content team is my good friend Caleb Ralston. And if we look at some of these thumbnails, there's a lot more also creativity, a lot more saturation, a lot more contrast, color. Sometimes a couple words. You don't need money, and so it's not like 3 words is also like has to stop you. If there is a phrase like you're not thinking big enough or something, fine. But if possible, stop hiring. How could it be, just 2 words? And so one way, if we talk about the perfect video recipe related to your channel, the perfect video recipe, which is the big idea, the hook, the content, and the transition. It starts with the big idea, and that is in VRA, are we coming up with the right topics, title, thumbnail? Of
Mhm.
course, then the content itself, we want to reinforce it with great content. But I do think that if we can really get that big idea dialed in and think about defining your title ahead of time, your thumbnail ahead of time, and optimizing some of those things, that could be really helpful for us. And even in this case, how to outsource your online course creation and get results. How could we improve this? You could maybe just say, get your course. That one's almost perfect, though. I think that one actually is pretty good, even though it's a little bit more words. Sell your course without a huge following. Tips for women, coaches, and entrepreneurs. The other mistake we can make, not only that helps us eliminate words, is there's no need to echo the title. You already say without a huge following, and then it says, even if you don't have a big audience. Well, if that's already communicated, one of the most powerful questions we ask in crafting any form of content, a video, a course, a book, is what can be taken away. I think in creativity, we should always ask what could be removed. Less is more. Can we tell? Mm-hmm. Can we actually make the story more clear in a faster time with less words? Could we get the point across in 7 minutes instead of 14? So just also thinking about, let's see, why you need to create online courses as a female coach and entrepreneur. Is creating courses worth it? Now, I think secondly, I love that you're doing the call out here. And I think I could debate that a little bit. I don't know if I would add female coach or entrepreneur. I might just leave it as why you need to create online courses. And then understanding that then allows your video to go a little bit more broad. And then once in your video, you could articulate the fact that, and hey, if you actually are looking for some done for you services or whatnot, I specialize in helping female coaches and entrepreneurs. So hit the link below. But it can help you increase your views by maybe not going as narrow in what you're doing. And it'll make the title more lean. The reason I feel tension on that is this very stream is a good example. Like, it's literally YouTube tips and strategy for Christian content creators. And so in some cases it's good, but what's powerful about this is it does allowed me to open up with a Bible verse, allowed me to like speak to more of a particular group of people. So it's not that you should never call out that audience, but it's a question of broad appeal or broader appeal, because already creating online courses is going to attract certain people. But then if you're very articulate about your faith, your values, and what you believe, someone might find the video because it's recommended to them and be like, oh, she's a Christian and I'm mad. Well, good. I mean, at least they were there. You got a little watch time, and then the person that's like, oh, she has similar values to me. That's awesome. Then that could happen as well. And it could happen potentially a little bit deeper, which the more niche you go, that is also going to be a cap on your views. So even your question of, could I get some more views? And then lastly, along this line of thought, I think I would say that, that the continuous following of the 7R system, and really specifically the first 2 R's, research and reverse engineer, and really mastering those is going to be huge, because all of us on the Coffee with Cannell today, anyone on the replay, we really are one video away from changing our life and business.
I agree.
And not even just because of the one video, also because the one video unlocks confidence. The one video unlocks, oh, wow, I found something that resonated. Oh, wow, that video not just did well, but it led to some comments. So that should lead us to 2 conclusions. Number 1, that we shouldn't quit. We got to keep posting, keep experimenting, keep growing. But 2, that it's worth architecting. What is a hero topic that would lead to 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 views and attract your ideal person? What is a hero video that you could make a great title, a great thumbnail, architect the video, and practically, number 1, lead to more leads, clients, and sales for your services, which could be life-changing. But then also, number 2, a rising tide lifts all ships. The one video lifts the other videos and awareness of you. But it also builds your confidence to double down on that video. And the way we say it is, success leaves clues, make part 2s. So you saying, I'm stuck at 100 to 200, real fact is, though, that's like, okay, you're average, but you're also very capable of going 5,000, 1,000, 500. So success leaves clues, make part twos is thinking about what can you learn? Should you be doubling down on AI? This is what this concludes to me. Could you do a 10-part series on Chat GPT? That concludes to me. Could you, even if you were to go Chat GPT course or 4 online courses. So you search that because that's your best video. So then you start looking into it. Okay, that's an actual Chat GPT course, which in and of itself might not be a bad thing to create. Full online course with slides and minutes. So, Corey made this video. This would inspire me if I'm you to maybe try to create an online course with slides, see what could happen, do an experiment. So it could send you down a path. It would send me down a path. I'd be like, okay, success leaves clues, not just on my channel. So let me try to create a course with ChatGPT. Let me experiment and put the research in. And then out of me being the guinea pig, out of me being the experiment, let me then make the 5-10 part series on that. And then knowing your skill set just from seeing what you've already accomplished, looking at this thumbnail, maybe checking out his video, it's 12 minutes. I don't see why maybe you don't get 50,000 views. Maybe you only get 12,000. That's life-changing when your most viewed video is 5,000, when it attracts the right person, it's the exact right thing. And that was simply from going to your most popular videos, looking at how we could maybe spin out some other stuff around ChatGPT. But then you step into AI. That could be a very profitable path on many levels. Also could lead to brand deals, etc. There's a lot of AI startups that want to work with micro influencers right now. They're all struggling or pursuing awareness. They're looking for people. It could just be a photo generator, graphic. It's literally endless. That for your niche, this wouldn't necessarily apply to everybody. I think AI is going to be life-changing for 100% of people watching this, and nobody should be ignoring it. They should be asking not only how can I use it, but could I be creating content about it because it's hot right now. But for you, it's like, literally it could be hundreds of videos over the next couple of years. Yeah. So that was just from looking there. Obviously, maybe confidence mindset is interesting. Maybe so that's another 5-part series, maybe on confidence, outsourcing. So right there, we just got confidence, outsourcing, and AI, and boom, now we steer. And you just said 100 to 200. So now if everything we just talked about and some thumbnail tweaks and improvements led to now your problem is like, why are my videos stuck at 500 to 1,000? But we literally
that's a good problem.
3x your current. So has that been helpful at all?
Yes, definitely. I'm having a lot of ideas now, especially when you said ChatGPT and also the confidence videos. I could, talk about like tools for course creators and also like ChatGPT prompts, I guess, things like that might be valuable as well for to make the course creation more streamlined and easy. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's others like, are you doing affiliate marketing already?
I have tried doing it, but it hasn't really been that successful for me. I should though. I mean, I want to, yeah, but.
What do you recommend like for people hosting their course?
I use Thinkific and Kajabi for all of my clients. Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine if you also, you should make a video called Thinkific versus Kajabi. And, we got 2,400 views here, 10,000 views here. They ranked them all there, 3,000 views here, 108,000 views. Now that's the 7 best. But here's why this is powerful. And notice I did versus, and we teach with VRA the versus strategy. The powerful thing about that is you'll meet people right when they are at probably a buying decision. If they have narrowed it down like, wow, I've studied Kajabi and I've studied Thinkific and I'm not sure which one I want. There's a reason why, one of the reasons why people struggle with affiliate marketing is this: they don't architect content strategically engineered to lead to an actual sales conversion of the product. For example, if I was to say Nordic Track versus Peloton, the person that even clicks on that video or searches for that video probably wants to spend some money on a Nordic Track exercise bike or a Peloton, and they're trying to make a decision. And if you make a great video and you educate that it's in the description, they go, okay, I'm going to go with the Nordic Track. They click your link, you get the commission. So then you apply that to, 3 tips for getting more out of your exercise bike. Well, they already have one potentially at that moment. So why would that video, it's not at the stage of a buyer journey that there might actually be a buying decision. So that one thing alone, because the cool thing about the course world is whether it's CRMs, whether it's hosting, whether it's something like Kajabi that can do all of the above, eventually, whether it's plugins or other things, you're definitely in a world that is really aligned with affiliate marketing. I would encourage you, like you said, keep doubling down in VRA. Keep VRA Masters is also updated. We added that whole advanced section. So that is all in the members area right now. You've got your future so bright. We got to wear sunglasses. Like, you got a lot of opportunity ahead of you. And I hope that this short session has been helpful.
Yes, definitely. It has been very helpful and encouraging. The only reason I would want to say though that the only reason I'm really not creating videos on those tech just yet is that sometimes it feels like, oh, there's so many people who are doing this already, and like I don't even know how my video would stand out or help, because somebody out there might have already created a video on that. But then now it's like I'm like fighting internally with myself.
And let me just speak to that mindset, because this is why I love sessions like this, because it benefits everybody that's here. I think everybody has that mindset. Oh, someone's already done it. Someone's already talked about it. Someone's already put the video out. But when something is a proven topic, you should do it as well. And especially when it's a proven and strong topic and there's desire for it, you should do it as well. And here's why. One of the things to prove this point is thinking about the Canon M50. So the Canon M50 honestly is a little outdated now. Still a great camera. And man,
That's
we talked about
camera,
we talked about it for a lot of cameras, meaning it's like 5 years old, right? It's like 6 years old.
Yeah.
So it's not the latest tech. It's a great camera. Here's the point. Think Media has probably made 30 videos on the Canon M50. So if we go back, Canon M50 tutorial, is it dead? You won't like my answer. Canon M50, 7 best camera settings, photography tutorial versus the ZV-E10, Mark 1 versus Mark 2. So, okay. So then you go, okay, well, Think Media. Oh, Sean already has a head start. Oh, Omar and Nolan. Oh, Think Media already has a head start. I shouldn't even make the video. Well, but what we don't realize is also just how significant of a topic that is. And if you find a good topic and everyone else has already done it, well, no, you should do it too. And here's why. Because yes, maybe I'll get 50,000 or Omar will get 50,000 or we'll get $250,000. But people are underestimating the chance to get 44,000, 54,000. These are not Think Media, 37,000. And look at all these other channels: Tech Through the Lens, Failtail Whips, Real Filming, Tech Gear Talk, there's Whips again, Pete Coco Photography, Prickly Pear Camera, Tech Gear Talk. Let's see. And we could scroll. We could probably spend the rest of the day live. Vil Rascu talking about the M50, 126,000. He only has 2,000 subscribers. Here, this is why it also proves, we talk about this, is like he only has 2,500 subscribers, but he got 126,000 views, which when you're doing topic research, that reveals how much interest and desire there is in a topic. And there's another big secret that is revealed on screen here that I'm about to share. But if anybody's getting value from this conversation, smash like, because what also proves that YouTube will never be too crowded, there will never be like too much competition, it can never be saturated, is this fact. Is the Canon M50 Mark II worth it in 2023? Sean, what do you mean? I mean, it's always going to be a new year. It's always, the whole dynamic is going to change, meaning the Canon M50 was the best camera until a new camera was created. And then when a new camera was created, now there's a new versus, maybe it's still the best. Maybe there's that one. Maybe now people are like, the thing that didn't even exist now exists. And that's why there will always be opportunity on YouTube, and it can never be saturated. So to be even more specific, if you were to say Kajabi versus Thinkific in 2023, that is a radically different, because it's not just like ever and someone's looking at a video and they're like, well, that's 5 years old. Software, the race of building software is always changing. Sometimes the software is the best and it's running fast and it's got a great development team. And sometimes they get a new CEO and it's not as fast and somebody comes out with better technology. So you can make an honest video that's like, at the end of the day, Kajabi's better than Thinkific right now. But then when a new product shows up, or it's a new year, just things are changed a little bit, or they haven't changed, because all this person is doing is saying, is the Canon M50 Mark II worth it? And they could be like, yes, here's why, or here's what it's compared to. So as the Earth circles the sun, and as software is updated, and as new AI tools are created, and as new disruptive technology disrupts other technology, there's always new news to cover. There's always new topics to cover. There's always new comparisons to make, because you could take the 6-year-old M50 and compare it to the brand new, and you couldn't have done that until the thing came out. And we can take advantage of, in a loving, Christ-like way, people's laziness, because people get tired. People, in Proverbs, it says, cursed is the disgraceful son who sleeps during the harvest. A lot of people aren't seeing the opportunity that's out here. Thomas Edison said opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. It's such a biblical principle. Like, and I'm not trying to call people lazy, but people get complacent. They get comfortable. They get lazy. And there is unlimited topics, unlimited titles, unlimited videos to make. And even if you go through a season where it's a little dry, boom, all of a sudden something, the DJI Pocket Pro 1-inch sensor, new camera that's dropping in December, that's out now. And I'm like, for vlogging, that's probably the best vlog camera now. It didn't even exist a couple months ago. And now the whole thing. So in your niche, and for everybody listening, I think there's a big thing about perspective. Of course, Jesus said, be careful how you see and be careful how you hear. If your eye is full of light, that light is going to be great. But if your eye is full of darkness, how great is that darkness? That just speaks to how much we get what we're looking for. It speaks to the power of perspective. And I get it. I know that a lot of people listening to this right now might feel discouraged and overwhelmed. Oh, there's too much competition. Oh, like there's no videos to make, or it's all been done before. Everyone else. And you could go that way. Well, that's a perspective. But what's the other perspective? Wow, there's so much opportunity. Wow, if I skill up and I take action and I apply biblical wisdom about hard work and strategy, if I continue to sharpen the axe, the sons of Issachar, their skill set that it talked about in the Bible was they understood the signs of the times, and they knew the course of action that Israel should take. And so there's something about seeing the signs of the times, AI, seeing the different things, and then knowing the best course of action to take. Okay, so this is where the conversation's going now. This is where the new topic is going. This just opened up a whole new series. And for some, it just will take patience. Do not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time, you'll reap a harvest if you don't give up. So sometimes maybe you have like a tough 6 months or a tough year, but if you don't quit, then all of a sudden, boom, Kajabi adds AI, ChatGPT gets an upgrade. You see the opportunity because you're looking and you're keeping the axe sharp. You do a 50-part series and a 100-part series, legit. And all of a sudden you go from slow and steady to like boom, viral growth. And people go, oh my gosh, you got so lucky. You just blew up overnight. And you're like, overnight success takes 5 to 10 years. I've been studying, I've been learning, I've been positioning, I've been skilling up, but I've also been looking for where's that unique opportunity around my topic and in my niche to really create some strategic content. And that thing can appear, we can take action today and get results today, but also we want to just be paying attention to the opportunities that are going to show up tomorrow. And I can't specifically say what those opportunities are because we don't know, but I can guarantee you they're coming. I think Richard Branson said opportunities are like buses. There's always another one coming. So even if you miss one, like I'm sitting here being like, we should have made the video as the Canon M50 worth it in 2023. There is no less than 5,000 videos right now that I that Think Media should make. Myself, Nolan, Omar, Nathan, now we're actually recruiting content creators. Like we're taking applications for Think Media certified coaches and for recruiting content creators. And we'll link details about that up in the description down below of just seeing of different people. In this case, it'd be specialized in tech or social media or things like that. But ultimately, there's 5,000 videos. That's not an exaggeration. And I'm not going to tell you what all those videos are. I'll share it inside of the VRA group, for maybe another tech channel. But it is definitely developing a set of lenses, a perspective that can see the signs of the times and to know what strategic action to take next, and then figuring out the bandwidth and the energy to take it. Here's the good news. Even us with a big team and video editors and stuff cannot keep up with the amount of opportunity. And so less about me executing on those 5,000 videos, people, and we got to land the plane. So I gave these other coaching calls, but almost everybody is underestimating how much opportunity there is right now on YouTube, how much white space there still is, how many uncovered topics there still will be, or just that, not that there is, but that there will be, but you won't be able to seize them unless you actually develop the mindset and the skill set to be able to see them when they come. So anyways, I hope that's helpful. That was quite the rant. Myrra, was that helpful to kind of maybe shifting your mindset?
Definitely. That reminds me of the verse 2 Timothy 1:7, I think. Like, for God has not given us the power. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of sound mind. And like, I'm gonna stop cowering in fear and thinking like of that like too much competition saturation thing, and I'm gonna just like get to work and create those videos. Like, even that title, is Canon M50 worth it in 2023? I think I could spin that off to like, is Thinkific worth it in 2023 or 2024? Things like that. There are so many ideas now. So thank you so much, man.
You have unlimited, limitless possibilities. That's true. So anyways, man, I appreciate you so much. We're all humbled. Can we give it up for Myrra Kate? By the way, her channel is Myrra Kate, just her name. You can see it on screen here. Can we give it up for her, though, showing up 3 a.m. in the morning to be on Coffee with Cannell?
I mean, I told you I would. I wouldn't mind if it's like like at night or something. Yeah, I would wake up for Think Media.
So grateful for you, and thank you so much for coming on Coffee with Cannell.
Thank you.
All right, smash like. I feel like that first one was good, so let's stick around to the end because we'll see where they go from here. We got 2 more coaching sessions. But one other thing I want to encourage you is we, in this last session, talked about being ready to seize opportunity. Again, I think that opportunities are like buses. There's always a new one coming. But if you don't develop the mindset and the skill set, you're not going to be ready for the day of opportunity. I think the best example of that is David and Goliath, because David was just doing his day-to-day life. He's tending his father's sheep. He's bringing his brothers a charcuterie board at the front line of battle. He's not even a soldier. And Goliath is taunting the armies of Israel. And David overhears King Saul talking about what he would do for the person that slays the giant. And when he also hears about the opportunity, some people think David is so faith-based and his ultimate zeal was for the Lord. But he also heard the king saying, listen, you're going to get the king's daughter. You're going to get your taxes canceled. You're going to get a place in the king's palace. So sometimes I think we get a little too spiritual as Christians, not realizing like, hey, you want to build a YouTube business, you want to build a channel. Oh, it's all for the glory of God, of course. But David was also like, bro, I'm trying to get like the sick house. I'm trying to get the wife. I'm trying to get my taxes canceled. That would be the ultimate. Shout out to the IRS. And so ultimately, you think about, he hears that, and then he's like, I'll fight him. And then he starts getting haters and feedback. His own brothers are doubting him. And it's like, I'll fight him. And even King Saul, you're just a boy. Like, he's been a man of war since youth. and ultimately tries on Saul's armor. It doesn't fit. He's got to do it his own way. There's something about figuring out your own way, your own path, your own strategy. For him, that's the smooth stones and the sling. And then ultimately he goes out and fights the giant, and boom, is able to have that accuracy, hits giant with one stone, falls down. He approaches an old problem in a new way, and ultimately brings victory for Israel and kind of sets him on this trajectory to become king and all of the above. What's the point? The point is his confidence was, I have been faithful with my father's sheep. Because Saul goes, dude, how do you think you can go fight Goliath? Let me ask you, how do you think you can go up against Mr. Beast? How do you think you could go up against Think Media? What audacity do you have to go up against this or that creator that you see? Who do you think you are? They're already giants. They're too big. You can't overcome that. And that's sometimes the mindset that we get. But notice that David didn't just say, he wasn't just like, oh, because I said prayers in the mirror in the morning of like, I can do all things through Christ. Like, I can do this. That's important. I'm not putting prayer down. That's critical. But David said, well, listen, Saul, I have been raising my father's sheep. And when the lion came, I struck it. And when the bear came, I defended the sheep from the bear. So I'm not afraid of this giant. The first day he picked up a slingshot was not the day that he fought Goliath. And there's another verse in the Bible that talks, I think, about the Gadites, about how much of assassins these guys were with the slingshots. In fact, even future, you go back a few pages and it's like, and a bunch of other people killed giants too with that same methodology because they approached it in a different way. Here's the bottom line point. I want to encourage you to keep developing your skills, to continue to get small wins for the next few months, even the next few years. David was faithful to develop his skill set and his mindset. He's writing songs, he's worshiping, he's praying in the wilderness. That actually prepared him for the day of opportunity. And I think that the reason a lot of people are going to miss their opportunity is they're not getting ready. They just want overnights. They just like, why can't I just blow up now? Well, you're not even ready to blow up. You don't have the mindset, the skill set, or the character. You have to have that season, but look at your season as this opportunity of preparation and development. They that are faithful with little will be given much. So if you're faithful with the lion and you're faithful with the bear, then you'll be ready to defeat the giant. And so I hope that helps, because ultimately YouTube is a marathon and not a sprint. And if you want to have future success tomorrow, invest today in skilling up, developing patience, developing your skills, titles, thumbnails, developing the ability to research, developing a strategic, minds, marketing, brand. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this. This is not saying that it's easy, but nor is defeating giants easy. But you can be ready for your opportunity tomorrow if you spend time preparing today. And that's on our thing, man. Let's sharpen the axe, so we're not exhausted with and frustrated by the results we aren't getting because the blade is dull. We got to sharpen this thing. And then all of a sudden success becomes easier. If you missed that reference, we started today with Ecclesiastes 10:10, and you can look that up. Hey, today's episode is brought to you by vidiq.com/think. We might pull that up on our next coaching call here with Chris and Megan, but vidiq.com/think will get you a free trial of the Boost plan. Listen, number one, vidIQ is a no-brainer because there is a free version. So if you haven't downloaded the Chrome extension and installed vidIQ, what are you doing? That's it's a good price, free. That's a pretty good deal. So you could download vidIQ, you could get that vidIQ Chrome extension, but also Boost is a monthly paid program. And I definitely recommend it for everybody, but specifically for anybody that has momentum. As you start getting any kind of momentum or any kind of money coming in, one of the best investments you can make is back in yourself, back in your YouTube business, back in your YouTube channel. And that could look like lighting, cameras. That could look like plane tickets to go fly and collaborate with somebody or interview somebody. It can look like a lot of different things. But the person with better tools is going to have an unfair advantage. vidIQ is not a magic bullet. You need the mindset, the skill set. You still have to develop the ability to create content, but it is an assistant, right? And one of the cool things about vidIQ is whether it is their keyword tool, which is still powerful, You know, there's that search-based content and suggested-based content. You have daily video ideas, which is an incredibly powerful tool, and that is actually connected to your channel. So it's giving you video ideas that are specifically related to your channel. You have the ability to analyze other content that your subscribers are watching. So you might say, Sean, how are you able to look up these other channels and find these competitors or adjacent channels and different things, and then make strategic decisions based on that? vidIQ, because I need better data. I need better insights. I need better things coming my way. But probably most powerful of all is their new AI coach when it's connected to your channel. Like when you click these ones with the little diamonds here, based on my channel, what video ideas do you have for me? You might say, Sean, how is this different than Chat GPT? Well, the difference is it has a YouTube strategy programming laid over it. Like ChatGPT is actually the foundation of their AI coach. Well, I could just use ChatGPT. No, because they actually are leveraging that technology, but then programming it with YouTube specific data paired with analyzing your channel itself. So for example, the answer to this question is based on your channel data. Think Media. I've come up with 5 video ideas to align with your niche and your recent performance. That's a power tip right in the middle of the whole session, by the way, though, is like, if you don't have a niche, then this coach and YouTube itself is probably not going to know how to help you, because YouTube is trying to say, what is your channel actually about? So you're going to confuse even AI assistants if you don't get crystal clear on who is your channel for, what problem does it solve. And so based on that, it's talking about top 10 growth hacks for 2024. Added to the list, Drea. Write these down. The ultimate guide to YouTube SEO in 24, also good. And these are my specialties. So those, one of the questions I like to ask is, how hard would this be for me to make? Like if it would take you 10 years of research, then that's probably not the next video you make. But like right now, I could probably spout off the top 10 growth hacks I have. I definitely could talk about SEO. So 5 must-have camera accessories for content creators, how to create engaging thumbnails that get clicks, mastering YouTube analytics, the key metric for success. Well, Sean, I could have went and figured that out on my own. Fine. Maybe, A, but B, think about the speed of that. I could have just planned my next 5 videos in the touch of a button. So smart entrepreneurs always understand that they're going to buy back their time with money. I'm not saying that it's for everybody, but I am encouraging you that if you're super serious about YouTube success, consider checking out a 30-day trial of vidIQ's Boost Plan. And you actually could try it for an entire month for $1 at vidiq.com/think. Link in the description below as well. No brainer on that one. And I think that'll serve you. With that, let's lock and load with our next channel, No Small Life, with Chris and Megan Myrra. Did I say your last name right?
You did.
Yeah, you did.
Which is
Myrra. Man, thanks so much for coming on Coffee with Cannell. Tell us a little bit about your channel and what you guys are up to.
Yeah, so we basically started a channel called No Small Life, just encouraging Christians that their life is not small, just in case they don't look like everyone else's life. For us, we call ourselves infertility survivors. So we didn't have the cookie cutter Christian marriage or Christian life, and that presented some challenges to us. And we thought maybe other people felt that way. And so we kind of started out to create a channel and a nonprofit, really to talk to people whose lives may not have turned out the way they thought, and kind of how to rebuild your life. But in that process, we've kind of gotten a lot of stuff going on here, because I'm a pastor, my wife's a designer, creative communicator, and so we talk about a lot of things that have to do with Christian lifestyle and Christian marriage. We also have a marriage course through Kajabi that we sell to people. So we kind of got a lot of things going on, and that's what we're trying to figure out, is how to kind of niche down a little, or is it okay, Christian lifestyle, to have all this stuff going on?
Right. Within the Christian lifestyle realm, we really talk about rebuilding your relationship with God, your marriage, and then just kind of your practical life. So those are the areas that we focus on. Like Chris said, we are marriage coaches, and so we lean a little heavy on that side. We've always been gun shy to go completely Christian marriage, because we have a lot of followers who are not married because their pain point looked different than ours. So
yeah,
kind of where we're at. It is separate out on our social media channels. So we have a No Small Life channel and a Make Love Work channel within Instagram and Facebook.
What is your ultimate dream scenario? What does winning look like?
As far as the content goes, or as far as just in life in
Yeah.
general?
Well, isolated to your media ministry, let's call it that. Where would you want your media ministry, YouTube channel, but like course, social media across the board, whatever, where would you, if 3 years from now,
Mhm.
um, you hit your goals, what would it look like, feel like, what would be happening, and what would that look like?
Good question.
That is a great question. I think it would look like our videos really solving problems. I think for us, because content creation comes easy for us,
Mhm.
and we have a lot of different areas we like to talk about, and the Bible's filled with a ton of topics that I think for us it just feels right to like go a bunch of different routes. But in my mind, I would love to say we solved this specific issue for this group of people, and they came to us, and then they got free. But we've never been able to say it like Dave Ramsey's the money guy, or Jimmy Evans is the marriage guy. Or we don't know who that is for us, and that's why that's kind of a little bit tougher.
Sure.
But we know we're a Christian lifestyle. We know we want to kind of stay in that
Mhm.
niche.
Right. Christian, yeah, I really want people to be able to come to us and feel, we've always talked about being like the mentors that we never had for
Mhm.
people. And so in a practical sense too, 5 years down the road, I would love to see the channel monetized, us be making, a significant income off of YouTube and really creating content that is helping mentoring people in
In Christian lifestyle and marriage,
Yeah.
for sure.
Amazing. So one thing that was as you got to the end there, we have a decent level of clarity. If I was to score that on like a 1 out of 10 on maybe like how good your answer was to that question, your answer was a 3 or a 4. And so that's better than a 0. And there's some room for improvement there. But I want to encourage um, everybody also listening that this might be one of the most powerful parts of your day or of your year, and really a good time to get ready for 2024. Here's the question again for everybody. If we were having this meeting here 3 years from now, so if you're here live with me on Coffee with Cannell, maybe let's put that on your goals list. Or if you're watching this and you're watching an episode of Coffee with Cannell 3 years from now, from today, what needs to have happened for you both personally and professionally for you to feel happy? What needs to have happened if we're meeting 3 years from now for you to be pumped, excited, and happy, like you felt like you reached your goals? And I think one of the work that you could do after this, Chris and Megan, is take some of those answers to questions. You said we want to monetize the channel, and really break it down granularly. And if anybody wants to grab a journal or take some notes, and as we know on Coffee with Cannell, if you want to get your pencil pouch out, and you could get, your pens, your all that kind of stuff, get that ready, because some of the things you could write down is, how much money do I want to make per month? How much money per month? And then another question would be, is there going to be a team around? Is it going to just be you? Is this going to be sustainable? So then it's also like, how much money per month? You might go, well, this would pay the bills, or this would give us a little bit of margin, or give us financial freedom, or a righteous person leaves an inheritance for children's children. So maybe retirement accounts and college funds are funded, but did you think about the expense of maybe a thumbnail designer and some other things?
Sure.
Well, what's fascinating about doing that research at the foundation is, again, how much money I need per month. I know that sometimes Christians can have money mindsets, but a slight side quest here is, this could sound insensitive to some, but $10,000 a month is not a lot of money.
Right.
Oh, wow, Sean, that's offensive. Well, here's what I mean. It's a lot of money as personal income, but for a business owner, 10,000 a month is not a lot of money, because the business owner, the self-employed, have got to figure out their own retirement. They've got to figure out taxes is a different situation. And just because you have $10,000 a month top line That's not take home. And I want to share this with all of Coffee with Cannell. So sometimes we set our targets too small, and sometimes our mindsets are also too small because we are afraid of greed, which is not even really part of the equation. Just give more, like be more generous and fight the spirit of greed. But like, it's not greedy to want to make 25K a month when you realize you're going to employ other people. You could actually have more momentum. You can make a more impact because you need money for the mission. Where there is no vision, the people perish, but where there is no money, the vision perishes. And so, okay, so how much money we want to have? We want to be helping people. How many people? What kind of people? And what kind of results would they be getting from watching your content? We set a vision. We want to help 1 million purpose-driven people create a full-time living doing what they love while making a difference in the world with YouTube. We actually turn it into a mission statement, meaning there's an amount of people, there's a result they're getting. Full-time means financial freedom or autonomy to do this full-time from home, or for the business owner, they might already be doing it full-time, but they need more leads, clients, and sales. So we understand that none of this is going to be perfect, but as you increase your level of clarity, I think this would be helpful. But then probably the biggest thing is I think you were onto something when you said Dave Ramsey is the money guy, so-and-so is the evangelism guy or whatever. There's a reason for that. This is not new information. Zig Ziglar said it's better to be a meaningful specific rather than a wandering generality. And even if that's not to say, because Dave Ramsey talks about entree leadership, he talks about business. He has other personalities talking about marriage. As far as the Ramsey solutions, they're doing a lot, but he obviously could talk about a lot of things. But here's the key. He got known for one thing. He cut through the noise with one thing. It's a powerful book called The One Thing by, I think, Gary Keller, and the Keller Williams founder, or one of them. And so I actually think it feels like you're kind of avoiding marriage a little bit, or you don't want to get pigeonholed. That's the mistake people make. It actually doesn't end up making your life smaller. It actually ends up making your life bigger. It doesn't end up making your YouTube channel smaller. It makes it bigger if you pick the right niche. Furthermore, I do think there's something about, you already have the course. There's something about potentially creating a blockbuster product. I don't think I've ever talked about this somewhere else. But one of the ways that people really become known for something is if they create a blockbuster product. You got your work cut out for you to attempt that. But if we think about something like YouTube Secrets, 110,000 copies sold, I think you could probably call that a blockbuster. There's one reason why I'm known as the YouTube guy is because I planted my flag, became known for one thing, not social media. That's good too, but social media, LinkedIn, TikTok, what are you doing? Snapchat still? There's still a lot of people there. But like I planted my flag. You want to know what felt small? It felt small to narrow myself to YouTube. What felt even smaller, I haven't told this story very often, was I think around 2014 or 2015, I wrote a book. It was an ebook only. But I wrote a book called YouTube for Churches. And not a lot of people know about this. I don't recommend anybody watching this go buy it. It's not very good. It was good then. It's outdated, I think is what I should say. But here's some of the mindsets I had with this book. By the way, I designed this cover on Photoshop. Rachel Sneed, who I was on a church staff with, was the editor. I typed it out in Word. I used this EPUB software from Ryan Dice to actually publish it. I just bootstrapped it on myself, figured it out, and I got it done. Well, here's what happened on a smaller scale. The first thing was I was a director of communication at a church, and I was nervous because I was doing social media for the church. I was leading media teams. I was doing leadership, and I was like, I'm a lot bigger. I do a lot more. Like I do more Christian living. I do a lot more than like just marriage. I'm doing a lot. I do all the social platforms. We were doing some Facebook ads. I'm helping the pastor with his personal brand. I'm doing the church media. We're doing some TV. And then I was like, I should write a book called like maybe Social Media for Churches. And then I was like, but you know what I love the most? And YouTube is a search engine. I was already ranking videos. I was already doing some stuff. I was ranking videos like Las Vegas church, Henderson, Nevada church. I was using VRA to grow a local church. I was using it for an author, speaker, coach. I had some freelance clients. That was kind of part of my early career. Here's the thing. I was afraid of writing this book. I was like, YouTube's already niched. Yeah. And for churches, what? Talk about niche within, what a small that's too narrow, man. That's too small. The opposite is true.
Mhm.
When I published this book, I became the #1 expert in the world on YouTube for churches. And you go, Sean, how could you have the audacity to say that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I was the only person in the world. I mean, the competition was nobody else.
Right.
I was the only person. And I could say that, like, I'm the #1. And they'd be like, how do you know? And I'll be, because there's literally 0 other people that are like specializing in YouTube for churches. Boom. I start doing some consulting. I start getting flown out to Florida, start getting paid, get put up in hotels to come in, coach. By the way, watch this, to coach churches and ministries on social media.
Mhm.
Yes, YouTube, but it just, like, now I became a meaningful specific in a world of wandering generalities.
Mhm.
So I actually now was getting invites and getting on more podcasts and getting on different things because someone was like, okay, here's the question everybody listening to this should ask. It's like, when somebody thinks about something, who do they think about? If someone's thinking about, man, I would love to learn more about sales. I would love to learn more about marriage. I would love to learn more about the end times. I would love to learn more about deliverance. I would love to learn more about, who do they think about when they think about that thing? And we can see endless examples of how powerful that is. It feels limiting, but then what we also see is, just because it's limiting at the start, a lot of guys maybe got known for evangelism or apologetics or something. Once your world gets bigger, once there's more money for the mission, your world can expand. Ramsey has now built an empire that has career advice, Ken Coleman, that has marriage and mental health advice, John Delaney, that has more financial advice. Ramsey himself is spearheading small business advice. Ramsey's not niched. That's actually kind of accurate. Like,
Mhm.
he's niched in terms of debt and cut your credit cards up, but Ramsey Solutions not niched. Sean's wrong. You don't Ramsey's not niched. What? Like, he's 30 years into this.
Yeah.
Right.
People are making the mistake of comparing getting discovered and building it up to then what's it looks like at year 5 or year 10. But the reason that people haven't hit success at year 5 or year 10, and they never became a meaningful specific. So that was quite the story. But I do think, deeper than your channel strategy, deeper than those things, and we could touch on a few of those things as we land the plane. I think deeper than that is architecting, where do you want to be 3 years from now? Where are you financially? And then break that down. How would those numbers work? Back on the finances. So how many courses would you need to sell per day or per month or per year? And you break it down of your marriage course to hit that target. If your YouTube channel, and don't get too paralyzed writing out your goals. Be like, okay, what that might be is 2K in ad revenue, 3,000 in course sales, maybe some brands are sponsoring our video podcast, and that's what's going to reverse engineer from 10 grand. I want that in conversation, that when it comes up, that like, oh, they're the, and what you add to it is, you might go, well, Sean, Christian marriage is already covered. So then you go, how do you add a detail to the thing? How do you add an additional detail to instantly make it completely unique? AKA YouTube for churches. So, oh, I'm the YouTube guy. There's already other YouTube guys. Okay. YouTube for churches. Okay. Now I'm the only one. So it's like, so maybe there's a nuance on marriage. That's the only book on marriage. I just was with Rebecca Zung, who's an expert in narcissists. She never thought she'd go there. 400,000 subscribers. She never thought, she didn't even want, her niche is narcissists. She was a lawyer. She actually loves negotiation. Now she helps people negotiate with difficult people, but her most recent book, Slay the Bully, is on negotiating with narcissists. Don't even think it exists. It's 2023. And how could it not exist? We're still on that thing of opportunity, endless opportunity. It's not easy. You got to master branding, master marketing, look at your skill sets, look for the gaps in the market. But I think that I would encourage you to really spend some time asking some specific questions around, and I'm not sure. Are you guys in VRA?
Yeah.
Did you go through Niche Finder?
Not yet.
I think we started it, and honestly, we've been
doing this for 4 years. The same conversation.
Yeah, we've been in this conversation loop for a long time between us. So I think we saw that was coming and backed out a little bit because we knew this call was coming. So
perfect. Well, so a couple of things on that. One thing is you already have Niche Finder. That is for sure your homework.
Okay.
That course right there, I believe, prayerfully and practically, that doing those frameworks, having those conversations, and actually watching that course together and doing the accompanying PDF and worksheet, that course is all about fierce clarity. Number two, I want to encourage you and everybody else listening that if I am coming across it all preachy or coming across it all on like, wow, Sean just got it figured out. Like Sean this is so hard to get that fierce clarity. It sounds like he has such fierce clarity. Well, I would agree to some degree, but I just want to encourage you exactly what you said. We've been debating this for 4 years.
Yeah.
We debate this in every meeting, like meaning for Think Media. So I think it's less about clarity and it's about the pursuit of it. And it's about making certain decisions where branding and marketing, I think, is an ongoing refining of your brand, not necessarily just like a moment in time light bulb. It's a constant whittling away, as if we were chipping away stones to eventually reveal the statue of David. You cut off a little bit here, a little bit there, and it's becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. And at some point, by the way, I mean, you already have 2,000 subscribers. It's like you've already have so many things to celebrate. I actually think the marriage thing, by the way, because you're a couple and it says, well, hi there, we're Chris and Megan, a Christian married couple. My first impression, and obviously your cover image, marriage and relationships, to me, that is kind of what, like, I actually think your branding is really great. And the channel is great on a lot of levels. So it reminds me a bit of my journey where you can even be in a place of already having a lot of good things. I think you probably have more clarity than you realize. And sometimes it's maybe about commitment and choosing to just double down and actually publish YouTube for churches, or double down and actually niche down, because maybe it's more of a fear rather than it is a lack of actually having an intuition of what to do. But I just want to encourage you. If I sound like I have it all together, the opposite is true. I'm just in a constant pursuit.
Sure.
And I found that the quality of the answers we get in life is based on the quality of questions. So this isn't even necessarily like an exercise we do once. I'm visioneering throughout the year, every year, and also then asking, okay, not even just what's happened over the last 4, but really truly, where do we want to go next? And the nice thing about the 3-year vision, the 3 years from now, is you also you have full control of steering the ship. You make the decisions you make, the videos you publish, the topics you publish, the book you choose to publish, the course you choose to publish. You're the one who's architecting your own brand. Yeah. So you get to shape the narrative. And let me know your next question, though. Has this been helpful at all?
This is so good. This is really good. We definitely appreciate you taking the time. It's I know we've had these conversations a ton, and we have found success, but we haven't had that one video, and we kind of feel all the time that we're being like pulled around.
Yeah.
And I got to become an expert at like the Bible, at mental health, at marriage, at design. It feels like a lot to become an expert in and actually produce really good content in all these niches. But we also don't want to like get bored in the marriage niche, and not help some of the other people. So it's just one of those things that's tough.
No, I feel you. And that right there, by the way, as we land the plane, but this is, I'm really glad you brought this up, because life is really complex. I just turned 40. So you got some wisdom from the reflection I've been doing in the weeks around my 40th birthday. And I think there's a book called Halftime. We'll link it up. And for anybody watching this, what is officially halftime? I'm considering this a trimester. If anybody wants to ask me, because I'm going to 120. So this isn't halftime, but maybe it is. And so Bob Buford, he wrote a book called Halftime: Moving from Success to Significance. Um, call it anybody that wants to get ahead, or call it, especially if you're 40 like me or older, take stock of the successes and accomplishments thus far, redefine significance, redefine. So that's something about redefining maybe your niche, your future, identify your personal goals, develop a mission for serving God in the second half of your life. Well, there's two questions that Bob Buford says will really help your second half be stronger than the first half. The first question is, what really is my purpose?
Mm.
And like Rick Warren taught us, if it's not aligned with my purpose, if it's not purpose driven, how can I actually start doing less?
Mm.
So I would ask you too, what could you take away? Because everything you just listed, so elimination is perhaps your chance to your path to growth as opposed to addition. I
Mhm.
actually don't think almost any human living with an internet connection and a smartphone is struggling from not enough. They're struggling from too much.
Mhm.
And then the second question is, how can I create the most leverage? Two questions for your second half. How can I focus what is my deepest purpose and align with that? And how can I create the most leverage? So that also begins to, there's been certain things that I think about, as there are quotes that say, like, you're never too old to dream a new dream, or, you know, create a new thing. And I agree with that. Like, there's all those cool stories, like Steve Carell from The Office, like, really got started at 43, or, you know, such as a Smith Wigglesworth, the famous revivalist, like, got saved at 50 or something. So there really is that you're not too old thing. But there's also that thing of, that I even think, I go, man, to actually go deep and develop expertise on a new thing would be hard. Like you said, it's going to be hard to become an expert at theology and on marriage, and
Mhm.
it's hard. But I think that's for anybody listening, man. What are my strengths? What are my experiences? What are my passions? What is my greatest strength? Niche finder will really be helpful in this. And how do I create the most leverage? And focus creates leverage. It's a laser versus a shotgun. It's focus allows momentum to build. I just got off a podcast interview earlier, and these days, with gray in my beard, I'm talking about how I've been doing video for 20 years and YouTube for 17, and I'm not going anywhere. I keep doubling down. It keeps building more momentum. It keeps, it's a laser. Now, I'm also architecting. There's many things I'm passionate about. The Bible, a stream like this. I'm finding ways to, we're here at Think Media Podcast talking about the Bible. Like, so there's different things that can happen. But anyways, I think that, uh, there's lots of tactics, and I want to get to Stephen and answer our super chat and a few questions. But the cool thing is, because of being a part of VRA, Niche Finder, you could continue with those tactics. Yes, titles, thumbnails, topics, architecting the videos themselves. And we could keep that momentum going. But I do think that on the other side of, like, focus, and on the other side of developing that self-awareness, and if you think 4 years is a long time, I started asking the questions that we're talking about right now. I knew I wanted to package what I knew into an online course. I saw the opportunity of that. I probably had fierce clarity that I wanted to do that in 2012, with zero clarity about exactly how it would look, or why would anybody trust me. And once I knew that, I went out and built the credibility. I was like, I don't want to, even have success on YouTube just teaching YouTube. I want to actually go fight some lions and some sheep, develop that credibility, prove my stuff works. So on my personal channel, I rank videos about grain juice and rank videos about this, and got some million view videos under my belt. And then built up mainly tech and camera reviews. And then eventually, so it helped me chart a whole life path. So 2012, I'm thinking about that. 2009, when my wife almost died and we were in the hospital, I knew at that moment YouTube was the vehicle. I was like, I know this vehicle will work to pay the medical bills, to help us reach our goals, and I will until, and I'll focus on that. And then we went through a lot of hard years. I mean, working at a church, 2012, but continuing to learn, continuing to develop, continuing to debate with friends, continuing to buy tickets and fly to events, continuing to research, continuing to wake up and feel like it all makes sense, and then getting so close to the problem and being super discouraged and being like, my channel is the worst. My branding doesn't even, and some of that's just it's not even true, but it's an emotional roller coaster. And so I just want to encourage you to just continue to pursue for fierce clarity. And everybody listening, for everybody that thinks it's like a magic, holy water you could just splash on your face, wake up the next morning and like, I got it. Like, I think it's about architecture, life architecture, brand architecture, and just keep refining it. And I think that'll be a next couple moves, and then stick with us close in VRA for the specific tactics. And I think your guys' future is really bright, because you already have, you can see the charisma, the vibe, what you've accomplished, the thumbnails, the creation of the videos, the B-roll in the videos, this set, the whole deal. No, like, be encouraged. You've made so much progress and have so much raw material that you're building on. Just keep steering that. And it's kind of like, in a personal opinion, specialized for you, is I feel like you're kind of 3 feet from gold. And so don't stop digging, don't give up before the breakthrough, kind of a thing. And I don't think you were doing that, but I feel like you're a few moves away from really architecting your next path. And in particular, here's the prescription, so we end with some practicals. Really work on that 3 years question, and granularly writing out a vivid vision. I don't want to overwhelm with resources, because we'll link up halftime for anybody that's interesting. I just finished the book, Vivid Vision, which I'm doing for our team. And if even that points a picture, I think that maybe the Think Media team would say the vision's been clear for a few years. Guess what I'm still working on? The vision.
Right.
Andy Stanley, the Visioneering book. Like, I haven't read one book on vision. I've read 5, and I just read this one. So it's like continuing, like, and so Vivid Vision speaks to the fact that a vision statement and a mission statement is not good enough. That actually, he encourages you to write a 3-page vivid vision that says, this is how we're going to feel in 3 years. And 3 years is the timeline. 3 years from now, this is what it'll look like. This is what it'll feel like. This is what our team will feel like. We have a small team, 5 people. We've built a great culture. And now, because what I also am asking, we specialize this just for YouTube. And you said, well, do you mean everything? Well, that's the big question. I think you write a vivid vision about everything. And you start thinking, okay, our church staff is like this. In order for me to have much time to do media, I actually have a successor who's being trained. She is a great leader. They have a heart for the vision, and they really want to help me on that local church expression. We've got a small team. We've created 2 different entities. Our YouTube channel and media company is an S Corp. It's a nonprofit, whatever you want to do. Our church is a nonprofit. We've got this director there. We've got this parent company. We're living here. We're living in the same house. We've bought a new house. It has a basement. That basement has 10-foot ceilings. It's got our podcast studio in it. It's got this. We've got, we sell this many courses. We have this much ad revenue. Brands are reaching out to us. The public says this about us in conversations. We were written up in Charisma News or whatever. We were talked about this because about what we have shared in terms of marriage. Vivid vision. Yeah. It's about 3 pages. So I think you take it some time, and then prayer on it's cool that we're on this Christian coffee with Cannell, because we can talk more prayer, more Bible. And in Proverbs, where it says, where there is no vision, the people perish, or where there is no vision, the people cast off restraint. That word for vision is chazoin, I believe, and it actually means prophetic vision. So it doesn't even just mean a good idea, it means a God idea. So I think in this entire process is prayer and fasting a little bit. You pray, you fast. Everything up to this point, God is using. That is the entire ingredients that he's going to work to the good. But I think that as you maybe go vivid vision, maybe halftime, maybe niche finder, and then you journal, and then maybe you fast and pray. That's kind of like an offering you lay on the altar, but I think the fire is going to fall. And then I think you get kind of like some fierce clarity around the whole thing. Like, what does it all look like? And what piece does this have? Because everybody that's listening to this, we're the YouTube people, but it's bigger than YouTube is just a vehicle. All it actually is like ones and zeros that turn into visual images and audio. Like, it's just a vehicle. What's the business? What's your life? What's the product? What's the impact? What's the message? Aaron McManus on our podcast just said, everyone's storytelling is this big hype. And I said, how do you tell better stories? And he said, story living is more important than storytelling, meaning like the substance that ends up on YouTube. You may be talking a little bit deeper about the fights you've never shared, the times that maybe, I don't know, you locked the door, or like slept on the couch. I don't know if any of that stuff's happened. Maybe more like some stuff comes out. Like, man, the breakthrough is when there's another level of vulnerability, another level of transparency, another level, whatever. And you capture all of that. This has been a great conversation because I'm for everybody listening, I hope, because man, especially as we also get ready for 2024, what a blessing on November 14th to maybe take some time right now to capture vivid vision for those of us in halftime, to think about halftime, to get clear on our niche and to really get clear about where it is that we want to go. I think that could be helpful. Any final thoughts or questions?
I mean, we're just very grateful to be on with you, Sean, and for your feedback, for your encouragement, to speaking to not only what we said, but maybe what we didn't say that we were feeling too. So we definitely appreciate that.
Felt like we got a lot of wisdom. So thank you, and we're gonna do it. We're all in. We're excited to be part of VRA and learn more and grow, and we're doing it. We're moving forward.
Well, I appreciate you so much, and thanks so much for coming on. And I'm so excited because maybe someday online again like this or at an event, I can't wait to hear about the vivid vision.
Awesome. Thank you.
Look forward to that too.
All right. Hey, thanks, take care, Chris and Meg. All right. Well, thank you, Stephen Brooks, for your patience. We're going to get into that in just a second. What a session today. I hope you're having a great time. Smash like if you're getting value. We're talking about YouTube tips and strategy for Christian content creators. We kicked off the entire stream with an axe. Ecclesiastes 10:10. Using a dull axe requires great strength, so sharpen the blade. That's the value of wisdom. It helps you succeed. As a side note, let me know in the comments or in the live chat if you would ever want to buy an axe like this. What I was wondering was every year at Think Media, we have a theme of the year. This year it's built to last. Last year was at our best, inspired by Carey Nieuwhof's book, At Your Best. That's a great series on the Think Media podcast. We'll link that up in the description down below. We shared my interviews with him, and we shared my talk from our staff. Our verse then was Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. But what's funny is I thought about it, I was like, man, these things are so cool. What if like Peter McKinnon does like limited runs of things and all it says on here is think, but like, I don't know. Let me know if you're interested in, if you want to buy an axe. Not that we plan on doing that. I was just curious, but what are we talking about? I think there's something so powerful, and I want to thank you for being here, especially as a Christian content creator, pastor, leader, about taking some time to sharpen the blade. And sometimes we want to run out there. See, like in that last conversation, I think maybe with Chris and Meg, we want to run out there. I'm going to post the video, make a thumbnail, come up with more content, post the title, run out there. And sometimes we're running out there with a dull blade. And we haven't taken the time to really sharpen the axe. What could that look like? Well, of course, in wisdom, it says to the value of wisdom, it helps you succeed. So how do you get wisdom? Well, in a multitude of counselors. And I mean, I guess that's what we're doing right here. It's a coaching call. You're learning. And a multitude of counselors. You can learn from Cameron Harold, Vivid Vision. We got that book. Bob Buford, Halftime, our niche finder. Like, so with multitude of counsels, plan succeed. Before going to war, get good advice. So of course there's getting advice. Of course there's practicing, like just getting out there and hustle. Not, a lazy man says, there's a lion outside. I'm not going to go outside. Right. I mean, but it's like, it's stepping outside of your comfort zone. It's practicing. It's doing 4 years of posting videos. And that's sometimes maybe your wilderness season. It's your season of the wilderness is not useless. The wilderness is where David was protecting sheep, killing lions, fending off bears and getting prepared for the day of opportunity, right? The wilderness season really prepares us for the public season. I like to encourage people to use your season in obscurity to prepare you for popularity. You think your small YouTube channel is a burden. It's actually a gift. Your small YouTube channel is you practicing in public your skills, the nuances of YouTube, like titles and thumbnails, practicing thumbnails, practicing graphic design and video creation, practicing communication, practicing. You're killing lions, you're killing bears, you're getting ready for the giant. And so if you use your season wisely in obscurity, it prepares you for popularity. And I think I don't really get to talk like this if it's not a stream like this one, but I think that sometimes popularity is overrated too. Of course. Well, Sean, I need the money. I want to go full time. Yes. But sometimes an inheritance gained too early in the beginning won't be blessed in the end. So sometimes your small YouTube channel is actually more of a gift because you're not ready for success yet. A lot of people dealing with failure, in my opinion, is easier than dealing with success. I don't mean to offend anybody, but I've seen success destroy a lot more lives than failure ever has. So sometimes all the lessons and all the practice and all the study and all the things, you just want to stick with it because those are the ingredients that are preparing you to be ready to handle the pressure and the growth and the momentum. Well, Sean, I just want a viral video. What good is a viral video if it's 15 minutes of fame, but you don't know how to sustain it because you never developed the character or learned the skill set? So I want to go viral, but if I had an option, I would rather have slow and steady success rather than viral success. Because I don't want my inheritance too early in the beginning because I want it to be blessed in the end. Behind the gold play button over here, aperture 1.4 on my Sony lens, so it's completely blurred. But this picture behind me over here says slow and steady wins. And at the end of the S is a little turtle, gold leaf. Ugmonk, UGMONK.com. If they have an affiliate program, I don't even know if they do, but Ugmonk does these images. This one says never settle. Someone thought it says never Seattle. Wow, what does he have against Seattle? So that says never settle. So this one says slow and steady wins, and the turtle at the end of the S is the tortoise and the hare, right? See, everybody wants to be the hare in 2024. They want to be fast growth, fast viral. Problem with the hare, right, was he was cocky. He was prideful. He thought there was no chance the turtle was going to win. So he ran a little bit, took breaks, and the turtle just slow and steady ended up winning the race, the tortoise and the hare. After this stream, I got to order that book for my son. I read him 3 books a night, 20 minutes of reading a day at least. And I want to be the hare. I mean, I want to be the turtle. I don't care. Takes 5 years, 10 years. I prefer that because if it develops 15, 20, because what if you then have decades of sustained success instead of boom, we went viral and I don't even know how to repeat it. Boom, we went viral and it went to my head. Pride comes before the fall. So anyways, I hope some of that stuff's valuable. We're going to get into our final coaching call. We got your super chats and your questions. I want to remind you today is Coffee with Cannell is brought to you by expandgodskingdom.com. I am going live later today. Now there is a limited replay. We may make this class on demand. So if you're watching this video sometime in the future, just check out expandgodskingdom.com. We'll put a link in the description down below. We're going to do as much YouTube tactics on this next coaching call as we can. But if you're specifically interested in a 3-step, like 3 big tips and a lot of nuanced strategy, specifically for Christian content creators that want to start and grow YouTube channels, if you're a pastor, ministry, church, or a Christian content creator or influencer, you would love this free class. It is at expandgodskingdom.com. And by the way, well, Sean, it's free, but is it really free? Are you going to sell something? Yeah, we have something for sale. It is called Video Ranking Academy. We've been talking about it in this very thing, but whether that's right for you or not, that's just our way to serve people at the highest level that really want to essentially enroll in an online YouTube college that you can take on demand. That's our online course. But listen, whether that's for you or not, don't worry about it. Like that's the way we run stuff here at Think Media. Like I'm not trying to trick anybody or what's on the class, you're going to probably get about 80 minutes of YouTube tips and some really powerful scriptures because I'm kind of a Bible nerd. And then I'll let you know about our program and I'll do live Q&A and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if that sounds interesting to you, expandgodskingdom.com. I wasn't trying to flex. I just thought Bible nerd, just, a student of the Word of God. And by the way, we have 7 core values at Think Media. The first core value is the Bible is our blueprint. And so for us, technically we're not a Christian company. We're a company. I love God. I'm a Jesus follower. We have all kinds of diverse people working for our company. And so anyways, what's the point? The point is, on that class, we're going to share a lot of biblical and Bible-based principles that are critical, I think, for building the kind of success that a believer cares about. Because it's going to be a little bit different, right? With your values, your beliefs. But then a lot of tactical strategy stuff for YouTube. So anyways, expandgodskingdom.com is the link for that. Link in the description down below. And then shout out, I know a little while ago we got a super chat. Thank you, New Kinda. Just delayed a bit, but still worth it to join. Could seem like a silly question, but how can I implement religion into my niche? So this is a great question. I think a couple answers, and then we'll get to Stephen. And then after that, we'll do a little bit of Q&A with whatever time we have. And let me just look over here on my calendar to see. Okay, I got a little block for recording, but it's nothing crazy. Okay, so I got some time here. So how do I implement religion into my niche? Well, a couple things. I'm assuming you want to. That's based on the question. I mean, that's obvious. But I guess I would challenge Christian content creators that you don't have to. I believe that's biblical, that you do not have to. Meaning, the maybe first question to ask would be, is it necessary? Because I actually think it's neutral, if not harmful, if it's forced. Personal opinion. I don't mean to ruffle any feathers out here, but I think adding forced Christianese into business is unnecessary. Maybe it works. That's meaning I didn't call Think Media is not Christian camera reviews. So I'm not trying to implement religion into our tech videos. And that's kind of what I mean. Now, then me just to describe my path then. And I think that making a Christian channel, if your channel was titled, Bible study, millennial Bible study, well, then obviously that's incorporated into your niche. Now, I looked up your channel, New Kinda, and I see you doing some a drawing of Last of Us. Okay, so I see it seems like you're drawing. You also did a best gift ideas, Amazon links in the description. Maybe it's is that for drawing? So I think actually even getting clear on your channel is one thing. But I think the question that comes first is it going to be the most effective thing? And what is behind the question? Do you want to implement religion into your niche because you deeply care about the Great Commission? Great, you should. Unfortunately, a lot of Christians don't. So great. But then even still, so let's take it to businesses. It's like if you're a pool cleaning company, does it have to be do you have to name your company the Pool of Bethsaida Cleaning Company? Or could you just be a great pool cleaning company, and the way that you connect with and serve your customers and the excellence that which you push across, you put across, leads people to get to know you, and when appropriate, you're able to share your faith. That's what I mean is it's up for you to architect, and that in some cases, by the way, why I also like when people, I don't like when people call their, Christ's Carpentry Incorporated or something, is it also, if you're not excellent at what you do and you don't actually treat people right, but you're but I want them to know about Jesus. And it's was that a good witness, or would have been better not to know? This is why I don't put any Christian bumper stickers on my car, because sometimes I'm not super saved when I drive. It's just kind of it's sort of true. I mean, it's can I be real? And so I'm if I don't know if that's going to be the best witness. I know that I just have sometimes a need for speed. I'm working on it. So I think thinking about how is it you want to get your faith across, and then a little bit of 2 cents just answering this question of how to incorporate religion in your channel. I think you kind of have a couple options. Option number 1 is you go overt. Overt is it's Bible study, it's ministry, it's news, it's Christian commentary. The other way, covert, sounds it's just the opposite of overt, I suppose. But covert would just be maybe a little bit more like think media, meaning it's just like, it's not branding. I mean, the Bible is our blueprint is pretty overt, but like that's only being said here on this stream, and it'll be said on a website and other places. But back to the point of like, if you make a promise in a title, like in one of your recent videos was best DIY gift ideas, Amazon links in the description, is like, what does that now? Here's a way you could incorporate best DIY gift ideas. Although if you said one of them, would be make a scripture picture. Well, the viewer might be like, that's not what I came for. Or you could incorporate and they go, oh, this person's probably a Christian. One of 5 things could be faith related. So are you going to be overt in your branding? It's like a channel for Christian couples, or it's a Bible study channel. Are you going to be just more of like you solve a specific problem and your faith is woven in at certain touch points in certain places? And how are you going to do it? And the way I do it is we kind of mainly weave it in. I realized that individual videos, we did a podcast a while ago, advice for Christian content creators. We're doing this stream. We're doing this one. We just launched these new expandgodskingdom.com to serve Christian content creators directly, but our business and our bigger brand, again, it's a little bit more broad. And last example I'd give is I would encourage you to really follow and study John Maxwell. One, because of getting into leadership is always helpful, even if you don't consider yourself a leader. But 2, John Maxwell has kind of become known probably as like the foremost best-selling leadership author in the world, right? And very well known that he's a Christian, but very respected across in different circles. The way he's set up, he's got some nonprofit stuff that doesn't have the Bible involved, so he can impact the education system. He's got some for-profit stuff. It's really cool, but he also has the John Maxwell Leadership Bible. And, someone came up at a leadership seminar and said, John, where did you get all your leadership wisdom from? Where did all this stuff come from? And he goes, if I tell you, you're not going to like the answer. And he goes, oh, really? He goes, yeah. You want me to tell you? And the guy goes, yeah, I want you to tell me. And he goes, I got it all from the Bible. The guy goes, yeah, you're right. I didn't want to hear that, because obviously, like, the Bible is the greatest success book of all time. It's more than that. It is the very word of God. It's truth. It's inspired. The entire, all scripture is God breathed and inspired and useful for training you and me for the work God has for us. And so anyways, what John has done is he's added value and served people, and then realized that he'll sometimes add an extra session at events and say, hey, now that I've taught about all of leadership stuff, would you, if you want to come back to a special session tomorrow, I'm going to share a little bit about my faith, which is ultimately the secret weapon. I mean, it's the fuel and the fire of the whole thing. If I'm going to give my success to anything, it's going to be that. Come join me. And he does, altar calls in those events. Sometimes he just does them in main sessions. And I think he said that in the last couple of years, there's been like 1 million, like in the last 2 years, there's been like 1 million decisions for Christ. And the pace they're at with the scope and size of his company, there's like going to be 1 million every 2 years if they continue doing what they're doing. And I would say there is nothing about this book that is Christian in the branding or the title. And on most pages, Bible's quoted, other people are quoted, but that's why John has been such a hero to me. And because of thinking about just different ways to express your faith as a Christian content creator. So it's a really good question. I thank you for bringing that up. And I think that could serve a lot of us here in the sense of like, how do I implement religion into my niche? And I want to relieve some who also feel a pressure to over spiritualize, meaning this: business is not just a good idea, it's a God idea. And it glorifies, it says in Colossians, I think, whether you eat or drink, whether you work, like do it all unto the glory of the Lord. And you making a video that answers a question, you entertaining somebody, of course, your content being aligned with the ethics of Scripture, but you got to pray about it and think about it. Of course, you should maybe share your faith with friends and family and people in your world. But one of the ways you can glorify and serve God is just make great videos that get people results, make people laugh, bring people a little bit of peace, bring people and really pray about how God wants to use you, because you don't want to try to wear Saul's armor. Maybe somebody else is like really good at theology and really good at evangelism and really good. Romans is clear. Corinthians is clear. We all have different gifts. You want to get clear on your gifts and how God's going to use you in some cases. Of course, share your faith, but even the gift of making money is a spiritual gift. And so that you can help build God's kingdom. And so, not that if that's all you did, because in and of itself, that's amazing. But if you have clarity, the question is, okay, I clearly can see that I'm good at business, I'm good at marketing, I'm good at branding. Maybe a better way to put it, I have raw talent that needs to be developed in those areas. So let me develop that deep. Let me just get crystal clear focus. I'm gonna help fund churches. I want to partner with Tim Tebow and help end sex trafficking. I want to do these different things. And I just want to go really deep and make the best content possible. And if incorporating religion was a weird forced thing, like just forcing, you're at a Mexican restaurant and they just like, here's some sushi as well. And you're like, what? It's really weird. If I wanted sushi, I would have went to the sushi place. And they just like kind of force it on you. Sometimes I think Christians make the mistake of doing that. Like it doesn't even really make sense. And it feels more like a Jesus juke than effective spirit-filled ministry. So just a few thoughts. I know I went a little long there. We got to get to Stephen. Smash like, friends, if we're getting value today. And Pastor Stephen Brooks from Stephen Brooks International is up next. Stephen, welcome.
Hello, Sean.
How you doing?
Thanks. Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on today.
Thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for your patience for an hour and 35 minutes and 14 seconds as we were getting ready for this. Tell me a little bit about what you're up to, when you started your YouTube channel, what your ministry's doing.
Well, it's interesting because on the 30th of this month will be 10 years exactly since the day that we started our YouTube channel. But I've got to be a little bit honest. I felt like we've had it on autopilot. You know, I would upload a Sunday message and a Wednesday message and not give it much attention. But we went to the Armed Media Conference that you spoke at in Charlotte. And I tell you, for my wife and I, the reality of it really came alive. And we said, we're going to get serious with our ministry YouTube channel. And since that point, we've joined VRA. And every time you talk and share something that I can apply, I like the 1% rule that you mentioned, that every time we upload a video, just try to get 1% better. So, but we are a little bit on a plateau. I want to get past the 10K. I want to hit the 30K and break through to the 100K. So we are ready to make those adjustments and make those tweaks and give it what it needs.
I love it. And thank you so much. I was actually just on with Evan and Alan Didio this morning on a Zoom call. So I'm so grateful we got to connect at Armed Conference. I'm looking forward to next year.
Yes.
And okay, so let's talk about it. So I think number one, it is cool. I did look up your channel. Congrats also on over 1 million views, 1.1.
Hey, thank you.
November 30th, 2013. So you're no joke. It's this month, 10 years ago. Let's check out a little bit of your oldest video. Here we go. Here's the oldest video, how to increase in God's favor. Okay, we got the globe. Yes, another inspiring message. And there you are.
Yeah, 480p.
Wow. Yeah, I know. This is, what is the resolution is this? I mean,
I think it's 480. So,
okay, yeah. And it looks like it was stretched. It went to widescreen from like the normal maybe letterbox, and who even knows what's happening there. I love this. This is cool to see. So
thank you.
Awesome to
streaming
see.
like on Livestream. You know, before YouTube got more and more popular, there was like Livestream, one of the initial like streamers, and they didn't have 1080p streaming, just low res.
It's absolutely wild. And so I love this. And so okay, so let's talk about the channel. Let's look. So and now, are you also full online ministry? Is it local church? Are you teaching Sunday and Wednesday and then uploading? How are you doing it?
We're mainly apostolic, prophetic ministry. We do a lot of television, but we had to face the reality that while television is a niche field, and we've been blessed in that area, YouTube is just where it's at, and a huge segment of the support of our ministry pours in through our YouTube viewers. And so we've got to really just beef up what we're doing with YouTube. So, but outside of that, we do a lot of ministry. We travel a lot and preach and write books, anything we can to keep the ministry moving forward, in the sense that we're not evangelists. Our ministry is mainly to the body of Christ, to build up those that are already in the church. So we have a lot of people that watch our YouTube channel, not only in America, but also like we have ministry partners in China, Australia, and just many distant places of the earth. So we're like a online church. Many people consider me their international pastor. There's a lot of people in the church that fall in between the cracks, and maybe they're in military, or maybe they're a truck driver, and they just cannot attend a regular church. And so they find us and they get fed spiritually. And then through the platform of YouTube, of seeing the messages, then they connect and become partners and, want to be an online member. And it just continues from there.
I appreciate that context. One of the things that's unique about Coffee with Cannell is context, because rather than just how do you get more views, it's about your specific situation. The first thing, I'm going to go two things and then I'll kick it back to you for follow-up questions. The first thing that sticks out to me is I would love a little bit of work on topics, and I would love for the topics to maybe get back to some practical desires and some, we call it ASQ, answering specific questions.
Okay.
That your ideal audience is asking. So the problem can be like a fresh infilling of the spirit of faith is not, it kind of gives me clarity of what it is. If I follow you, I know what that is. I have to already know what the spirit of faith is. Maybe I have to know if I want to watch that, or I have to already like you, know, like, or trust you to want to click on that. Right. So the flip side is if when you answer specific questions, it could be like, even what is the spirit of faith? This can give you series to do, but even more than that. And my favorite thing to type in is like, what does the Bible say about? Now, by the way, like, this is probably going to take, what does the Bible say about Israel? What does the Bible say about masturbation? What does the Bible say about tattoos? What does the Bible say about? So then you start getting into like, okay, so what are people really asking? Well, by the way, the answers are right here. Like, it partly, what does the Bible say about Israel? And that kind of taps into a little bit of trend surfing. Now, maybe you don't feel called to go there or feel equipped for the intensity of that situation. Like, do you want to jump in? But by the way, what is on people's minds right now? This war, this conflict, what does the Bible say? And that kind of also reveals to us, take your channel out of the equation for everybody listening to this. Oftentimes the reason people struggle on YouTube is because they're making videos that nobody's searching for, nobody's looking for, and it's not the right word in the right season. Like, there's Kairos timing, right? And there's Chronos. Chronos is the linear time. Kairos is the now word. Well, okay, of course, now you're following the spirit. So you're going to talk about whatever you feel led to pray about, what you're studying. But when something like pastors, the apostolic, misses out on, like, side note, like, what does the Bible say about Israel? It's like, unless for some reason you're like, I don't feel qualified to answer that, or I just don't feel like that's right for me. Like 100% of churches should be answering that question, because what is on everybody's mind? And that is a light bulb moment for any niche, because when something happens that you should be talking about and you're not talking about it, then don't come to me later and complain that you didn't get the views, because that's where the views are. So it's also kind of like, of course, in a church, sometimes when the relationship series happens, all the young people show up and the unmarried people show up. It makes sense in that, versus they don't if maybe another series shows up. Again, you got to follow the Spirit of God. But when you match the right message at the right time, the way we say this is that the YouTube creator who understands the viewer best wins. And if you know what keeps them up at night, what are their pain points, what do they want to learn about, what are they dealing with? And so then I think, getting back to practical, Reaping an Unusually Large Harvest is a 4-word title. Can I be bold with you?
Yes, please.
I mean, on a scale from 1 to 10, I think this title is a 2.
Okay.
Reaping an Unusually Large Harvest. So let's workshop this a little bit. Reaping an unusual large harvest. So let's think about other ways we could say that. let's go to our vidIQ AI coach and let's reaping a large harvest. Tell me if I'm correct. Is this biblical principles for money? Is this teaching on tithe and offering?
It does cover the area of the 30, 60, 100-fold return, but the conditions that surround that to get the best return.
Okay. And so maybe the other thing we're looking at that I like saying is, I learned from, interestingly enough, I was at a conference that Donald Trump's marketing manager was speaking at, who ran his campaign the year that he had a victory over Hillary. Objectively, what we know is that Trump's messaging and branding and marketing was far better than Hillary's. You remember what his slogan was?
Let's see here. Well, we know the Make America Great Again.
Exactly right. That's what it was.
Right.
What was Hillary's?
I don't even remember.
Nobody does. Even her fans don't know. Like, her messaging it didn't resonate. It wasn't clear.
Right.
So this guy was running Facebook ads, ad spend marketing for Donald Trump. And I'll never forget, we say it in VRA now, all the takeaways. This is also the power of attending events, because you get like one nugget that's like can be absolutely life-changing.
Sure.
And he said, one of the things that what we realized was that when it came to our messaging, we needed it to be kitchen table talk. That's the phrase.
Okay.
Kitchen table talk. And what that means is, what's on the mind of the average American as they're having dinner? What are they talking about with their spouse, their kids, their family, their friends that are over? And what language are they using? In marketing, we learned that we want to communicate at like a 5th grade reading level, max 8th grade. One of the things you could do if you have an AI tool is you could type in a period of text and you could say, can you make this 5th grade level of understanding? A lot of people on YouTube don't understand this, because so now kitchen table reaping unusually large harvests. If that was kitchen table talk, you might think it's a farming reference. You have to be like insider charismatic to know what that is.
You're exactly
And if you were only talking to charismatic super fans, you would understand. But that's where we get back to maybe saying, so if we go in here and we say, what are 10 title ideas for a YouTube video about what the Bible says about money? And then we hit enter. Let's just see what spits out of. So now, if you're following VRA, if you're in the reverse engineer research phase, you kind of know that the answer to the question is, this is how you reap an unusually large harvest. And you know that what harvest means is actually make money, is wealth, is riches. And you know that reaping means gaining the money, and you know that how to do it. So not only could I think even this exact title be better, but I also think the entire angle could be better. So top Bible verses about money. And then, by the way, in doing research, this will always happen to all of us. You maybe know, okay, this is where I'm going with this training. You still know that I'm going to teach on 30, 60, 100 fold, but you also might, in the process of using a tool like we're using together right here, you might be like, top Bible verses about money, discover the secrets to wealth and prosperity. You might go, let me add that to my list, because I can make that video next week.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah. And now you might not want to talk about Dave Ramsey's biblical money principles, but that's on there. You got biblical principles about money, how Christianity shapes financial decisions, the Bible and money, unlocking the secrets to financial success in scripture. So let's just stick with that one. And there's all kinds on here. And this is the vidIQ tool. But like, I love this title, Bible and money, unlocking secrets to financial success in scripture. Maybe it's not a 10, but it's like an 8. That's like a 9 in terms of clarity. People on kitchen table, they know the Bible. Kitchen table, they know money. Kitchen table, unlocking the secrets, they desire financial success, and they know it's going to be based in scripture. So we have reaping unusually large harvests versus Bible and Money, Unlocking Secrets to Financial Success in Scripture. Did you see how powerful that is?
Oh, it's way better. Yes.
It's way better.
Yes.
And so what I would also encourage is this is why doing the right things in the right order is so important, because if the 7R system, right?
Yes.
That before we press record, we want to reverse engineer and research, and then write an outline and figure out what and this means that going into the third R, which is record, we actually have already written the title and we figured out. So we even know how we're going to hook the video. Like, okay, I know that my title is Bible and Money. So now even in the hook, I'm like, so what does the Bible say about money? Is there secrets in the Bible for having financial success? What's the difference between the prosperity gospel and the real gospel? And is it okay for Christians to be wealthy and rich and or whatever? So you might, and now the hook is better. It's tied to the title. It's going to influence the way you communicate. And I would imagine that your essentially hour-long sermon, that core content doesn't even need to be switched much. Here's what we're talking about. We're talking about packaging.
Yes.
Packaging. And content is king. That core content is king, but marketing is queen, and she runs the household. And so it is a Christian content creators, ministers like yourself, I believe, responsibility and stewardship to really learn marketing and branding as missionaries, because the degree and skill that you have at packaging, that's going to be title, that's going to be thumbnail, that's going to be the very topic itself, and that's also going to be the opening, because all of that is the package, even the opening of the video. Because if I don't quite understand I'm in the right place during the first couple of minutes, one of my biggest pieces of advice for pastors that actually post sermons to a local congregation is their opening of their sermon should be an architected YouTube hook.
Yes.
Like, they should spend a lot of time, maybe even practicing and mastering the first 30 seconds, if not the first 3 minutes or something, because it's going to be an hour. Why not take 3 minutes to do the hook?
Right.
Opening word. So you're like, all right, turn with me to da 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 da. Like, as we get into the sermon today, I want to start with a question. What does the Bible say about money? By the way, if you edit that and put it on YouTube, you don't even have to say it as we begin the sermon today. Like, so you could cut it and it's, what does the Bible say about money? Now, you're talking to the local congregation, but you're hooking the beginning, and you're like, did you know that Jesus talks more about money than any other, and then there's a couple things. So you're teasing what's to come. You're getting, you're setting it up. And then you might go, let's start with our scripture today. Turn with me to, after 3 minutes of maybe a story, some questions, a few points, some things getting people ready to consume the rest of the content. That would be packaging.
Okay.
That would be packaging, to think that not only do I have to deliver the gift, wrap the gift, when they need to open the gift, then they see even the box the gift is in. They still got to open the box, and then they get to the meat of it. And a lot of times we are focused on the meat of it, which is the most important too, because if your theology or the actual content wasn't good, then that would be our own issue. But I actually would think here, with your legacy, everything you've built, everything that's here, mastering packaging, coming up, and in VRA, we call it the perfect video recipe.
Okay.
Big idea, hook, content, transition. Transition just means at the end of the video, pointing to another video using your end card. And there's a lot of tactics we go deeper on. So all that to say, I think, to me, we broke down one of your videos and maybe flipped how we could do a better title. Thumbnail is going to be influenced by all the above. And so really mastering those first 2 R's can be really helpful. Stephen, what do you think about all of that?
Well, it's interesting that you picked that one, because that would be one of the specific titles that when I created it, I did not feel comfortable with it. And sometimes you also feel the time pressure, and your mind works. And I'm going to really start to lean more on vidIQ and get the help that AI can supply, because when I'm trying to come up with the titles, sometimes I can get a good one and other times I can work my way to a good one. But on that one, honestly, I didn't feel that solid with it. So I think it's amazing how you would pick that one. I think the Lord is really helping me in this area through you right now, because if there's something I feel maybe it's not fully baked, I need to cook it some more or something till I get that ironed out so that the packaging is more presentable.
Yes. And yeah, Stephen, I mean, I appreciate you so much. And I think that that we often say small tweaks lead to giant peaks. And sometimes by the way, that's a small tweak in the packaging. That is proven in business.
Okay.
It was the same product, different packaging. Now the product's successful.
Mm.
And so sometimes we might think, oh, people don't like my content. I'm just not good enough. It's capped here at my views. Well, no, actually the content's good. But it's the packaging. Content is king, but marketing is queen, and she runs the household. Packaging. And so, yeah, and I would encourage you, keep going through VRA and just like you have mastered the skill of hermeneutics, biblical interpretation, and you've invested your life in building all these things. The cool thing about what we're talking about is that it is learnable, and it's learnable relatively quick. All the clarity doesn't come in overnight, maybe not even in a year, but
Okay.
through diligence and discipline, 12 to 24 months from now, studying VRA. And here's what's kind of cool for ministries, churches, Christian content creators. It makes us, it will have better service to the body of Christ by learning marketing. Here's why. Charles Finney, the famous revivalist, said this. He said, when it comes to like my ministry, I want the Bible in one hand and a map of the human mind in the other. And so it isn't just this, it is, but if Paul said, show yourself to be an approved workman, Paul said, I become all things to all people that I might win some.
Yes.
That would be a willingness to learn the culture, understand the culture, learn YouTube, learn packaging, learn marketing, so that I can win some. And I have found, by the way, marketing, it's kind of a funny term because it's kind of like sales. Like Christians, we don't want to be a marketer. We don't want to be a salesman. I don't blame people. You don't want to be a used car salesman. I don't want to be a marketer. I think the mistake we're making is we forget that Daniel spent 3 years under Babylon's education without compromise. So Meshach, Shadrach, Abednego, Daniel, they spent 3 years learning all of Babylon's tools and methods. I actually think Alan Didio was talking about this. David eventually, and we talked about this earlier, David eventually used Goliath's sword to cut off his own head. So he used the enemy's technology to defeat the enemy. Now he used his sling. I guess he might have already been dead. Who knows? Maybe he was just knocked down and knocked unconscious from this sling and the stone. But then he used Goliath's sword to chop off his head. So all that to say is I do think as spirit-filled, Bible-based, anchored in Christ, Jesus followers, we have to guard our heart above all else. I think we have to be careful that we do not use the world's, especially mindset, because we think different. We're from a different kingdom. So we're not of the same spirit. Like we're not coming from the same, like we guard your heart from greed and so we need to guard our heart. But too many Christians are afraid of like, oh, if I go to a secular conference or something and they swear, or if it's not like Christian email marketing, I don't want to do it. It's like, no, it's just email marketing, like it is Goliath's sword that could be used to for God's kingdom. And so there's something about learning marketing, learning branding, and even being willing, Moses the same, learn from Egypt. Like I think getting an education in the practicality of packaging, right, makes us like Charles Finney saying, listen, scripture is the foundation and nothing, I'm not going to use any tactics or anything that's in violation of scripture, but there is something about learning from quote unquote the world to find these just universal principles that, when applied, will ultimately lead to reaching more people. That's the whole point of the stream. That's the point of expandgodskingdom.com. Ultimate goal is, how do we reach more people for Jesus? How do we help more people with biblical truth? How do we fight the fight of tyranny that's happening here in America and around the world? How do we stand for values and principles, Bible-based values and principles? How can we be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves? How can we be shrewd as believers? And so all of the above, I think, applying to our content can be very, very helpful. Any final questions, Stephen?
Well, I agree, because what you're saying is that these are things that ministers have to learn. Nobody told me in ministerial training or in ministers conference, hey, learn how to learn the flow of YouTube. Nobody's teaching that. I mean, you have very rare exceptions, but they're almost like outside of the church, like the ARM Media Conference. So these are things I've learned I've got to dive into. I need to learn this. And with your help, the learning curve is not that steep. My wife and I were watching VRA every week, and those things are helping. But I would ask you with the question about my theme or my vision, which is stated on the front of the my YouTube channel: unlock the power of explosive faith and embrace God's best. Your thoughts on that? Because I do see the value of continually drilling down on the clarity of vision. I feel like I could still refine that. I wanted to get your feedback on that statement.
It's a great question. I think I recently changed hours, because also YouTube on Think Media Podcast, because also YouTube changed the about page. The about page is gone. Technically, the about page is right here. It's a pop-up now.
Okay.
And you still have that section, but you get the preview of it. I'm very glad you're using yours preview. So here's the most recent one I wrote for the Think Media Podcast: unfiltered YouTube tips for building a profitable channel.
Perfect.
That's about as many characters as you have. I encourage all viewers and listeners, that fills the character count. Let me go to a character counter. And let's see here. If I paste the text there, nope, hang on. So I'm just curious, because I want to give the exact number. So everybody watching this should come up with a description for your channel that is unfiltered YouTube tips for building a profitable channel, is about as many characters as you have. That's 8 words, 58 characters. 58. So you got about, I think it's 60 characters is the max. Actually, let's type yours in there. Yours pushes it a little further. So so maybe we have more than I think, because you fit the whole thing in there as that top line, at least on my screen. This word counter has 7 zillion ads on it. Okay, here we go. So we got 50. Oh yeah, it's 59. So I think we're max 60 characters.
Okay.
So how can you communicate your vision and your promise of your channel? Who do you help? What are you trying to help them accomplish? In 60 characters or less. And that's the new text headline of your channel. It's that first line. By the way, the mistake many make too is a lot of times it's like welcome, and then it's a space in a new line, and all it says there is like welcome, or it says welcome to Think Media, which is unnecessary, because it's an echo of your title here and your handle here. So anyways, so some homework for Coffee with Cannell. Okay, so unlock the power of explosive faith and embrace God's best is, on a scale from 1 to 10, my gut reaction is it's probably a 6, maybe 6.5. It's not bad.
Okay.
What some advice, rattling off things that I look for when it comes to like a clear elevator statement, a clear elevator pitch, a clear tagline, you could call it. Sometimes this is your vision statement. Sometimes it's just the short description of your channel. Like, we don't have to overthink it. What is my mission? Oh, maybe it's not a mission. It's just, it's like, what words can I put there to best encapsulate what my channel is about? I like to avoid generalities.
Okay.
So I like to, explosive faith. Faith, grow your faith is a clear thing. Explosive is a nice word for it. That's why it's still like a 6.5 or a 7. It's good. It's a nice descriptor. Unlock the power of explosive faith. I also like to avoid, if possible, anything that'll create confusion in your average viewer. So that, I think that for a lot of people pursuing stronger faith and believers, like you said, you're more for like in the church, people that want to go deeper in their faith. I then also, that's why the kitchen table talk changed my life so much. I like to think if somebody that was old school, salt of the earth, you're sitting at Thanksgiving with your grandfather, you know, my stepdad, Phil Escalin, he was just here. We had a 40th birthday party. We're sitting in the backyard. Like, I love how he communicates because it's like short sentences. It's so clear. I realize I overtalk, and how he might experience something and he'll say like 60 characters. And I'll be like, that's what it is. And he'll be like, yeah, it's a YouTube channel that helps me make my faith stronger. And I'm like, it's a good point. It's exactly what it is. And I'm looking for fancy words. So I'm not saying that was a good tagline, but I am saying, okay, 5th grade reading level kind of, or kitchen table talk, language that everybody uses, and then something specific. Easy. Okay. You could call it easy for Ramsey to say he helps you get out of debt, or it's personal finance. Christian living is, it's a category. It's specific. Embracing God's best. It's kind of like, all right. But that's kind of why it's not a 10 to me. Right. Because it's not exactly, it's maybe getting clear on, you know, and by the way, if we went specific, you could say, helping you understand and apply the Bible. Great. Now, you might not actually add this to a tagline, but if you want to start being unique, you know how interesting denominations can be. A lot of different viewpoints of the Bible. Our friend Alan Didio, his channel makes a lot of sense to me because it really does feel, it feels heavy prophetic and it feels end times. Yes. So end times to me is a clarity. Prophetic is clear, you know, and that's what yours is as well. Like, so, but those are some of the things I think. So to recap, can I avoid generic language and find specific language? What exactly am I helping people on this channel do? How could I be known for something more specific? Is it kitchen table talk? How can I find unique words or power words to enhance the core thing there? So again, I know I want to do YouTube tips. That's basic. Unfiltered was the word I really looked for to kind of be like raw, unfiltered. And here we are. I mean, yes. I asked you for permission to, you know, so so in the first 3 words, even the first 3 words, unfiltered YouTube tips is pretty strong. Like, okay, I would love some unfiltered YouTube tips. But then I think about features and benefits. What is your desire? So then it's for building what? For growing your channel. True. But one of my specialties and what I hope is I'm actually trying to help people get all the way to the point of profitability.
Yes. Right.
And to use the word profitable is again one word. So unfiltered YouTube tips for building a profitable channel. What I mean, don't flatter me on a scale from 1 to 10. And in fact, chat, do it as well. On a scale from 1 to 10, how clear and how good do you think this is? How clear?
I would say right off the bat, that's a 9. But how long did it take you to get that? Were you working back?
Exactly. No, by the way, those 60 characters, I've also been doing this for a while. So it took me maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour. I spent probably an hour and then kind of seeing how many characters I had, kind of thinking about what it was. But how I spent a decade.
Well, it's real smooth.
I spent a decade to get prepared for the hour. Okay. Because I mean, branding and marketing is what I do for a living. So it came a little bit faster, but it still took some time. So I appreciate that. So it's like a 9. And I also kind of, I just wanted a new update because I realized it was outdated. And I think, and wasn't even showing up correctly. I think if we go over to Think Media and we might want to remind Kyle, it says, thanks for checking out Think Media on YouTube. Like, so that's an absolute waste of space right there. Think Media TV, Think Media, Drea, if that's not changed by the end of the day. Donald Trump, you're fired. Just kidding. Relax. She might not even be there. I see her in the background. And so, like, what are we doing? We are YouTube coaches. But I took over. I did the podcast channel. Where was Steph when you needed him? And so ultimately, yeah. So I appreciate that. I'm gonna see what the live chat was. 9.7411. I mean, and y'all are flattering 10.
yeah.
I appreciate it. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how clear is the description? So that's what I encourage you to work on, and that has a little bit to do of clarifying where's the Lord calling you to go, where's He calling you to teach. And I went back to that thing. If you use words like charismatic or prophetic or spirit filled, it's gonna be more. That's clearer for me. It's gonna be
Okay.
clear. That's clearer for me. If, by the way, if you also go, what was like Mark Driscoll and Reformed? Reformed carries a lot of weight.
Okay. Sure.
Spirit filled, it means something.
Right.
And so, spirit filled Bible teaching. And actually, the process of doing this, Stephen, is also, and for everybody watching, open up a fresh Google Doc. Write down your first one. Spirit-filled Bible teaching to help you reach God's best. I don't love it, but write it down, because then that's the first one. And so then you go Spirit-filled Bible teaching on the next line, and you're seeing with how many characters. Maybe you end up writing one that's 100 characters, and then you say, what words could I remove?
Right.
So then you're like, Spirit-filled Bible teaching for daily life.
Right.
Okay, boom, another one. And then you keep going. And the next thing would be to bounce it off a couple people. Which one do you like best? Hey, honey, which one do you like best?
Sure.
And I have one other tip for you. And in our 2 hour and 10 minute and 50-second stream so far, which I still probably have 5 questions I'll get to, is I have one more tip for you that's very important.
Please.
And that is, you got to use your community tab more. You haven't posted here for a year.
It's very old, yes.
But here's how I'd recommend you use your community tab. Watch this. You could write your final 3 or 4 best taglines, opening lines for your channel right here.
Okay.
Then you post a survey, a poll on your community tab, and you let your subscribers vote on which one they like best.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
You got 10,000 subscribers.
Okay.
What I would encourage is, actually, the way you're doing this was also the way we teach, like a big image and a link to the YouTube video. That's good too. But what I saw this earlier, what I was thinking, multiple ways you could use this. I want to see how long it's been since we've posted a poll over here. But the thing with community tab, a lot of times people are using it too much for promotion, like promoting a video. They should be using it more for conversation.
Okay.
And audience feedback. In fact, we are. And this is Coffee with Cannell is our public opportunity for realizing that, I mean, and actually, no, we are doing good. Like when we ask questions, so there's two specific ways. Open-ended question. So this says, what is the best freebie you've received? That's interesting. And that'd be like a lead magnet or something like this. But here's the open-ended question for anybody that has a decent amount of subscribers and a community tab with anybody responding. What is your biggest pain point right now? What is your biggest question about the Bible? What topic would you like me to cover next? You could do it as an open question. All you do is look how easy this is. It's some text. But better than that, or in addition to that, you also might say, okay, thinking about teaching on reaping the big harvest. And so I'm going to use vidIQ AI Coach. I've narrowed it down to 3 titles, 4 titles. Now I'm going to go to my community tab and say, which of these titles resonates with you most? And then you create a poll.
Okay.
And all you got to do is you go text poll and you copy first one here. So we had Bible and money, unlocking the secrets. You can't actually fit the whole thing. That's only 65 character limit. Unlocking secrets to financial success. You don't even need it in scripture, actually, come to think of it. because the Bible is already clear.
Sure.
So you leave that one, then you go number 2. Now, here's what I've learned. If you have even the smallest sample size, like 22 votes, it usually maps pretty closely to the big data.
Okay.
Meaning like literally what would get the best click-through rate at a big scale can be identified with a small sample size of surveying your audience.
Okay.
Here's an example of what happens. So how do you prioritize when designing a thumbnail? I have not voted on, I'm on Think Media, so I'm not logged into this podcast. Faces and expression, branding, colors, bold and readable text, high quality imagery. I would just say high quality imagery. And so then you see your answers 3933, and that was 1,200 votes. Punchline is, when I have done surveys, I'm trying to think about one of the last ones I did. It was probably about a title. Is in 10 minutes, I knew the answer. Meaning before all of the answers came in, it could have changed, to be fair, but I'm just saying like it happens pretty quick. This is maybe, which title would you click quick? This is the last time I did it. Which title would you click first? Mind-blowing viral video secrets from an ex-YouTube employee. Ex-YouTube employee reveals secrets to viral growth. Try these viral secrets from an ex-YouTube employee. Try these mind-blowing viral growth secrets from an ex-YouTube employee. And actually that got cut off, which was fine.
Right.
Now notice, one by far outranked the rest in terms of votes.
Right.
And I got 1,200 votes, 1,200 votes. But here's what I'll encourage you. Even with 10,000 subscribers, and even if you only get 50 votes.
Okay.
My point is that small data and big data in this case doesn't change much. And that this title won in the first 10 minutes. Now it's been a month.
Right.
And that's how fast the community tab can help you get
Great.
a little clarity, because you're like, well, I'm going to ask my wife, but like, does she really, I mean, that's one, that's only one. How do I get some feedback? And empathy for someone, if you're just starting your channel, you can't tap into this as much. But for you with 10,000 subs, getting audience feedback, what questions are they asking? What do they want to see next? Voting on a title. And in doing so, every time I do this, I feel like I get a little bit smarter. Life's all about creating data sets. And the more data sets you have in a particular arena, like I just have looked at more videos and more thumbnails and more click-through rates and more titles and more backend and more affiliate programs and more launches. This is a lot of different data sets, and those data sets have helped me write maybe a 9.76 level channel tagline in less than an hour. Maybe it would take somebody else a week, but it's because of how many data sets and how much refining I've done over the last decade in terms of this. So anyways, the application for you is tap into the power of your community tab and start doing it today. Like these posts, they might take 5-10 minutes to craft, but the simplest one would just be asking a question. And you can post on your community tab technically as much as you want. 3 times a day is not too much. So even daily, you could just be asking your audience more questions. What's your biggest challenge right now? What is a Bible question that you would love to have answered? What are you struggling with? Because when I say the creator who understands the viewer best wins, how can you really understand them unless you ask and unless they answer?
That's true.
Community tab.
Okay. I'm going to develop that. Thank you.
Steven. Man, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for coming on Coffee with Cannell. Did you get some value out of this conversation?
Oh, yes. And thank you for being so patient with us and giving us the extra mile. This is really, you came with the sharp axe today.
Hey, that's right. That's probably what happened. I got the axe out and we were ready to, people just jumping on are like, what is he doing? Like, but I appreciate you so much. I'm grateful for you. Maybe we'll get to cross paths again in the future. I'm sure we will, and keep building. Love what you're doing and excited about the future.
Thank you, Sean. We sure appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Steven, and thank you, Coffee with Cannell. We're going to answer some questions, but as usual, I got a super chat I'm going to shout out. It's time for aha moments. If you've been here for 2 hours and 18 minutes, number 1, you're a real one. Number 2, you're amazing. Number 3, in the live chat, unless you're driving and you don't have the ability to type it out, I'm curious, what is an action item? What have you liked best from today? What's an aha moment from today? What's a light bulb moment for you? We've talked about Ecclesiastes 10:10. Using a dull blade requires great strength, so sharpen the blade. That's the value of wisdom. It helps you succeed. So what wisdom did you gain today? What are you going to implement? What are you going to try? Smash like if you're getting value. As a reminder, I'm going to take a little break after our 2 hours and 18-minute stream. And a little bit later, I'm going to be doing another 2-hour stream. Starts at 3. Is that how soon it starts? Yeah. So that's exciting. And I'll rest a little bit, but drop some aha moments, because we're not just about information. We're about application. 5th grade language. Yeah. I've taken a paragraph, put it into vidIQ AI coach and said, make this like a hook. I'll write out like 5 sentences for what I want to say in the beginning of a video. And I'll say, make this 5th grade language, even if it just gives me a little insight. Oh yeah, that sentence was sort of clunky and confusing and more advanced. Like, great. 5th grade is really good. Definitely working on the description. Great. Yeah. The 60 characters, 5th grade language. I don't have a Christian channel, but as a Christian, I appreciate the value. Awesome. Appreciate you. Thanks for being a part of VRA. Thanks so much for being a VRA fam. Yes. Community tab. And focus on community tab is one thing for views. It's more about the data and the feedback. That's the missing point. Everyone's like, oh, let me promote my videos more and promote my stuff. Ask better questions. The quality of the answers we receive in life is directly proportional to the quality of the questions that we ask. Awesome. Got vidIQ. Amazing. Aha. Don't force Christian content because it could be a net neutral or net negative. Yeah. No need to force it. Totally fine. But figure out your brand. What's God calling you to do? What niche is he calling you to do? I think about Mary's Nest, one of our beloved Mary's Nest. And I mean, it's maybe obvious in certain points. She might mention scripture, mention this or that, but she's got almost 1 million subscribers she's about to hit. She makes just great cooking and bone broth and apple cider vinegar videos and whatnot, but they're not like Christian apple cider vinegar videos. Even though brag, right, has that John verse, beloved, I pray that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. But that's the thing too. The reason people buy brag apple cider vinegar is because it's good and the process of doing it. And it's cool. They can kind of, put a Bible verse on there. I think at In-N-Out had Bible verses. I think they're maybe gone now, but they used to put that on the packaging. So sometimes you could do things like that, but yeah, don't always have to use that. Using the community tab, features in vidIQ. So amazing. Yes. Sustainable pace, Jesse. Appreciate you. Expand God's Kingdom is happening in the next 90 minutes, apparently, which we knew. And so let me just hit the super chat. How much do you vet companies you want to produce content for? I've had pushback and comments about promoting tech from oppressive countries. Eee. Well, that is a really good question. Because that's a whole nother angle of is the product good? Is the service good? And then how's the service made? The country could be oppressive, the methodology of building it. I suppose in the lineage of Nike, if you wear Nikes at some point, there's a legitimate case to be made that like you're wearing baby shoes that were made unethically or on the backs of. So I think some of that's going to be a personal conviction issue. We heavily vet companies. I'll admit that we have never looked into their employment practices. Now, mind you, I guess what a lot of times what we promote is software and maybe they're developers. So I would maybe flip it. If information has come out, like if they're just from an oppressive country, I think people are like splitting hairs over that, because if I was born in a country and I founded a company there that has a great product and a great service, and I'm doing my best to build that product and service, and I have like a dictator or tyrannical leader, I mean, I don't have much control over that. Shout out to the entrepreneur and the founder of that who did it. On the flip side, if even after correction, we're accountable for what we know. So we wouldn't, if a company had like a ton of smoke around them for being unethical, we would consider that. For us, we do have an extensive filtering system. Number one, do we believe in the product? Number two, is the product is it effective? Is it a product we would use? Number 4, would we recommend it to our friends, family, loved ones, and family members? Number 5, do they have a good track record? Number 6, do we see longevity in the company? I've avoided, we canned a podcast episode with an interview of a founder of a course hosting platform. The episode didn't go, it was all right, but I realized, and it could have been lucrative to promote this thing as an affiliate. But when I thought about how many developers they had, I thought about the trajectory of the company, and I thought about it compared to like Kajabi and other things. I thought, no, let's not promote this one because it may do well. So I was asking about the longevity of what are people investing in? What are they buying? And will that company still be along? Or will they just, this is one reason why I love Kajabi. That's what we use to host Video Reiki Academy. If you want to grab our free trial, we'll link that up in the description. If you're thinking about hosting an online course and also want to do all the things in one platform. But there is one reason why I can vouch for Kajabi about others. They have more developers than Thinkific and the other companies. You could fact check me, but I think they're the most sophisticated, most developed company. That doesn't necessarily mean they're the best, but why is that an extra layer? Is the product good? Does it work good? Is it going to keep working good? Do they have an infrastructure? This is also one reason why I like vidIQ over TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy hasn't been like the interface. It hasn't really, it's clunky. Like it hasn't been, whereas vidIQ continues to innovate and adapt and AI coach and so all things being equal, business is sometimes ruthless a little bit. But if TubeBuddy, I don't know what it is now because they were acquired, but like if they have 10 developers or 20 and vidIQ has 100, where are they going to be in the future? So which horse are you betting on? So anyways, we absolutely ask questions. You've just added another question to the thing, which would be, yes, does this company have any drama or exploitive practices or anything that we should, it's pretty good. And so, and then I would finally say, Ryan, that pushback, I would clarify pushback. One comment isn't necessarily pushback. 10% of your comments, 20 or 30 or 50% of your comments, that's pushback. Christians can be people pleasers disproportionately. We really can, we want to make people happy. Jesus was so meek and he was so kind and he was so meek. And you're like, the Jesus who literally took the time to weave a whip and go into the temple with money changers and flip the tables, that meek and kind Jesus, like same Jesus. So I think that we can become overly sensitive and we don't have a good pain tolerance for people disagreeing with us. For Christian content creators, you need to know, right? Unfortunately, Christians can I be real? They can kind of be the worst. And what do I mean? They can be the worst at like being mean to each other and infighting and like splitting hairs over non-essential issues. Oh, you took that scripture out of context. Yeah, it's important to keep it in context. Oh, I can't believe you could use the Message paraphrase. Oh, I can't believe that's what you believe. I can't believe. Dude, relax. Bro. Like one body, one church, one spirit. Yes, like let's debate, let's discuss, but let's not lose our decorum and become infighting and nasty and weird. And unfortunately, a lot of Christians get that way. So if someone is like deeply researched to discover that an entrepreneur in Korea somewhere made an incredible product, but the country is oppressive, and they're like, I cannot believe that you would, no, you might explore that, research that, always pivot and adapt with the times. But if you get one comment, sometimes it spins us out. Tear the video down. Don't post it. I can't believe. And it's sort of like, okay, noted. But again, if the video gets 50% dislikes, and I think where that's going to more happen, you probably would see it coming. I think that people, meaning you knew, like people who promote stuff, like you knew the product like wasn't that great. Or you knew you hadn't tested it. You knew you were going for the money and not the thing. Like if you do your best and apologize when you make mistakes, to stay in integrity, to be as truthful and honest as possible, to promote the things you believe in, that's not going to be a mistake-free recipe. 7 questions to ask. Is it valuable? Would I use it? Is it from an exploitive, you ask all these questions, you're doing your best. But I think where 99% of influencers who get backlash is because they promoted like that. Remember the titles thing, Irish titles or Scottish titles or noble titles. And they got a lot of heat because of like, you're going to own, a square inch of Scotland. You're actually going to have real estate of a noble. You can add that you could add like Lord Sean Cannell to your credit cards. You could do all this different stuff. And then that whole company got under scrutiny. And people, this happened a lot with the FTX and crypto and all the financial influencers, which I also don't even fully blame because they may have done the research and looked at, and FTX looked good. And now Sam Bankman-Fried is sentenced to over 100 years in jail. Like, I think that it's about doing your best, trying your hardest, having a filtering system, apologizing when you get it wrong and moving forward, and not being too tripped out by, one-off comments. I hope that's helpful. Ferramaro, what's your current setup, camera and lens? Is it possible to know? It's a little bit pricey. We can throw this up. I'll let Victoria build this out. So first, we have two Sony FX30s. FX30, FX30. Second, on this camera one, we've got, and when I say I'm here by myself sitting at my house. We've got a Sony lens, 24 mil, 1.4 G Master. It's pretty pricey. It's like a $1,200 lens. We then have over here a Tamron zoom lens. That is 20 to 40. So it's a zoom lens, 2.8. It's then in a Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro, which allows me to just plug the HDMI cables, which full size come out of the FX30s. Reason I went with those is because some Sony cameras have trouble overheating. I wouldn't worry too much about it in a lot of cases, but I'll tell you this, these cameras are cinema cameras. They have fans inside of them. And I was like, listen, I'm going to build like indestructible setup. This is a mission critical thing I do right here. I'm gonna get the fans in the camera. That was how I made that conclusion. We also already had one that we were using over at Anderson Studios, and now these are crop sensor cameras. So we have full frames over there. So I got one, I added another one, got the lenses. I've got Ulnazi ball heads on there, and that's gonna be a lot of things to maybe circle back on, but I will list all this tech in the description. I've got mounts to mount them to the desk. And then I'm using StreamYard to stream. So yeah, that would be the ATEM plugs in to USB. And then I have a camera source. And then I just have a switcher actually right here in front of me. And it's got the USB, it's got power, and it's got the two HDMI cables and pretty much all I do is just switch between them like this. However, it would be a bigger blessing if I started using, I think these transitions. How great was that transition? Did you enjoy that? How about that one? So there's kind of some cheesy transitions. How about that little squish one, huh? That's nice. Woo! What a little squishy. So Kyle was dying because these transitions are so ridiculous. This one, that's not as bad. That's kind of, I think I've seen like James Bond use this little like fade slide. The squishy one is probably the worst. This one. Wow. That was, and so I don't need any of that stuff. So I pretty much just leave it on cut and I just cut between it, and we'll link those up. So, okay, listen, friends, I got a couple super chats. Thank you so much for your a second super chat to follow up. New kinda, and here for a moment. Unfortunately, Victoria's telling me I need to rest. We've gone 2 hours and 33 minutes. We are waiting to get in live streams. We have a vision, but we are overwhelmed with the process. Any thoughts? Start before you're ready. Do a live stream, make it unlisted if you want. Practice. If you also want to practice somewhere that, in your opinion, is lower stakes, I challenged an aspiring minister, to go live on Facebook multiple times a week. I said, why don't you, at least weekly, why don't you go live on And here's why I said Facebook, because maybe it's not about building up the library of videos on your YouTube channel. You're just looking for a place to practice. Instagram Live. It disappears right when you're after if you don't save it. But here's what I was encouraging him to do. Sometimes people who aspire to be in ministry are like, no one's giving me the mic. No one's inviting me to preach Sunday. Why can't I? When are they going to see my gift and my talent? Why can't I speak and get on the mic? Why can't I? You ever heard that? Or maybe you think that, right? Why am I not getting invited? Not realizing we're living in a world where you could study the Bible and pray and prepare a message and deliver it in public to zero viewers, or 2 or 6 on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube Live, and you can make it unlisted after. And here's what I encourage, though, as I said, don't you think if you because you want to speak Sundays and prepare a message every week. So what if, as your side hobby and hustle, because this is the thing you want to do, what if you just decided, I'm preaching 52 messages this year. Give yourself a break. I'm preaching 40. I'm going to share like 40 sermonettes once a week. I'm going to go live and I'm going to share it, or teachings or sessions or whatever, And then what would happen if you committed to that? And who would you be? And what would your skill set be at the end of those 40 days? 40 weeks, maybe you do one a week. How much would you have grown? How much would you have grown as a communicator, especially if you kept learning and kept studying? I think you'd be an entirely different person. Here's the sad thing. He did it for 1 week, maybe 3, but he stopped. No, I mean, no judgment. It's just observation. But I think that's the difference maker, right? Like it's not even just like stepping out in faith and punching fear in the face and doing it. That's a big deal. It's hard. And it's not even doing it a second time. It's also not just committing to like VRA or learning or whatever, like learning some kind of system or methodology, but like really stick with it and really stay it through. Consistency, patience, put in the work. Use your season in obscurity to prepare you for popularity. What happens on the other side? You go, this guy on this Coffee with Cannell show told me to start going live once a week because I have an aspire. I want to share my message. I want to preach. I want to teach. I want to do it. So I started doing it. I started doing it on YouTube. Do it on YouTube. How many people watch? 0. How many replay views? 4. Cool. I did it for 2 years. What started happening is right around the beginning of year 3, started getting like 100 views a video. Started getting 200 views a video. Year 5, I'm in international ministry. Wow, just overnight success. Just came out of nowhere. Just because I prayed and God blessed me. Yeah, or maybe. And we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. That is a system. VRA is a system, but that would be a system of personal development. I don't know how fast my skills are to develop and how quickly I'm going to grow as a communicator, but what is on my calendar that's going to force me to prepare each week, to deliver each week? Is it going to be a non-negotiable? See, I got to show up and preach on Sunday. That's why he stopped. Oh, if I get invited to speak at my church on Sunday, well, I'm not going to miss it because it's in my city and I'm going to drive down there. But if I commit to going live Tuesday morning from 7 to 7:30 online and teach, super discouraging that only 2 people watched. Super discouraging that I was watching the numbers and I saw a 1 and then I saw a 0 for most of the time. And then I saw a 3 and then I saw a 0. Super discouraging. And I did it for 3 weeks, but then I started being like, man, this is kind of hard and I'm not really getting the feedback I want. And no one's actually making me do this. And I don't have to show up on church on Sunday. So I'm going to skip a week. I'm kind of busy. I'm going to skip the next week. I don't know. It's only 3 people anyways. Was it really worth doing? Man, you gave up on your dreams that easy? You gave up on what you were thinking God called you to that easy? Sad. There's something about just not quitting. There's something about maybe setting it up. By the way, and because this is a personal development goal, you're measuring the wrong thing. The success wasn't how many viewers it got. That's a results goal. You were measuring an action goal. The success was doing it, the action. The results are up to God. My action is 7 to 7:30 every Tuesday. I am going live and delivering the content. But that's a pretty simple system. Fits on a napkin. What did you decide? I decided on, eventually there's like 26 kids in the youth ministry. And she'd say, hey, we're about to hit the recording. You know, that back in these days, they'd put like the sermon on the CD or like maybe upload it on the internet. She'd say, okay, here's what I want everybody to do. I need you guys to scream like there's 2,000 people here. So the recording sounds better. Now you might think that's too secular or something. It's not spiritual enough. I think that's actually exactly the kind of mindset God would want us to have, because it's us thinking big in small places and us acting big in small places, and us stewardship, being faithful with the little, but treating it big. Because I'm going to show up and go live for the 2 people as if I had 2 million. I'm going to prepare. I'm going to pray. I'm going to fast. I'm going to get ready, whatever kind of content. I'm going to sharpen my axe. I'm going to learn my skills, and I'm going to do that over time. And those who do over time are the ones that develop the skill sets, master live streaming, you know, get comfortable with it, learn the things, upgrade as they go. So I hope that helps. Friends, thank you so much. Victoria said famous last words. Last thing, probably a better way to put it is as I land the plane, and we do land here. She's saying, have I finished my slides yet? I haven't. And I am going, you know, live in 1 hour and 13 minutes. So we are ending here. So hit like, join me so we can keep this party going at expandgodskingdom.com. Link in the description down below. That's where we're going next. I appreciate you being on here today. Smash like, maybe tag or share this with somebody. It really would mean the world if maybe you know somebody that are a Christian content creator, a pastor, or a church. Shoot them an email, send them a link to this video, you know, DM them a link to this video, just because it really is our mission here, especially to help purpose-driven people like you sharpen the axe. And so if you got some value today, it would mean the world if you liked and shared. My name is Sean Cannell, rhymes with YouTube channel. Appreciate you. Can't wait to see you in a future video. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and we will talk soon.